Yo! Yo, chat! What are the chances Breitbart realizes they just disclosed the Mar-A-Lago search as part of the Espionage Act investigation? This is wild. By the way, the fact that this is under the Espionage Act investigation does pretty solidly confirm that this is about nuclear state secrets. Additionally, here's another update. All of this is technically irrelevant anyway because Trump, who as president has original and absolute declassification authority, said he declassified all of these documents. Number one, it was all declassified, Trump said on Truth Social moments ago. Number two, they didn't need to seize anything. They could have had it anytime they wanted without playing politics and breaking into Mar-A-Lago. It was in secured storage with an additional lock put on as per their request. My man, what is Trump gonna do with nuclear secrets? I don't know, sell them for billions of dollars? As we covered last night, the Saudis inexplicably put $2 billion into essentially bankrupt like corporate investment firm run by Jared Kushner. They also put $1 billion into one of Steve Mnuchin's companies, none of which makes any financial sense. Unless they are paying him back for political favors. But also, as we learned yesterday, the president can't unilaterally declassify nuclear secrets. That is actually something that is expressly forbidden in law. So no, he doesn't have unilateral and complete authoritarian right to declassify anything he wants. That is not something that is true. So this is very, very interesting that we have essentially from Breitbart confirmed that this is about nuclear state secrets. Okay. I'm going to change the title of this stream to Trump definitely stole nuclear secrets. The MAGA cope is real. Yes. Yeah, the reason some in the Manhattan Project gave away the game was the belief that no one country should have the sole power and control of nuclear weapons. The concern was after the war, what if USA became fascist? Who could give them pause? I think giving Stalin nukes was bad, but I get it. Yeah. Makes sense. Oh, right. Hunter's laptop. Shut it down, boys! Shut it down! It's all fine. It's A-okay. Okay, we need to look at the news that's coming out. Because as we know, folks, the Trump team had until 3 p.m. Eastern time today to oppose the opening of the warrant to public examination. He did not oppose it, so now we have access to the warrant. Let's take a look. Yeah, Trump's lawyers just filed in court saying he does not object. Yeah, he also said publicly last night he would not object, but now we get to see what it is. All right. A search warrant viewed by Politico reveals that the FBI is investigating Donald Trump for potential violations of the Espionage Act and removed classified documents from the former president's Florida estate earlier this week. Okay. A receipt accompanying the search warrant viewed by Politico on Friday shows that Trump possessed documents, including a handwritten note. Documents marked TSCI, which would indicate one of the highest levels of government classification, and another item labeled Info RE President of France. Oh shit. I mean, a lot of this did leak, but this is now confirming. This is now confirmation. Hey, Star Garden. Does he have Hillary's emails? Guys, for those of you who don't know, TS/SCI, I'll type it in chat, is possibly the highest level of sensitive intel the United States possesses. Yeah, here we go. Essentially, what TSCI means is top secret / sensitive compartmented information. I cannot stress this enough. The highest level. They have a couple above that, like special access program. Interesting that you mentioned that, because there have also been some leaks around this, indicating that Donald Trump, part of the nuclear secrets that Donald Trump may have taken, relate to special access program information for nuclear stuff. It's real bad, guys. This is damning shit. If it is shown that he took this stuff, this is damning. Okay, the warrant shows federal law enforcement was investigating Trump for removal of or destruction of records, obstruction of an investigation, violating the Espionage Act. Conviction under these statutes can result in imprisonment or fines. He better be put in prison for this shit. The documents are expected to be completely unsealed later Friday. Former President Donald Trump this morning posted on Truth Social, nuclear weapons issue is a hoax, just like Russia was a hoax. 2 impeachments were a hoax, the Mueller investigation was a hoax, and much more. Same sleazy people involved, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Also, he wrote on Truth Social, why wouldn't the FBI allow the inspection of areas at Mar-A-Lago with our lawyers or others present? Trump's lawyers were present. This is pretty massive from what I heard. I used to work with nuclear intel. If he had SAP level clearance, this could be up to 20 years in prison just having them. Yeah, no. The leaks are indicating that he did have nuclear SAP level materials. So this could quite literally put him in prison for life, essentially. Yeah, Nindreen. Yeah. The warrant revealed that he's being investigated for violations of the Espionage Act. Also, keep in mind, guys, that he kept these documents at Mar-A-Lago, a place that has been riddled with spies and foreign agents for the last 6 years. Did the warrant come out? Some people have seen the warrant so far, but full like reveal online hasn't happened yet, as far as I know. I don't believe Trump will see consequences. No, guys. For this shit, the United States does not fuck around, okay? If this was anyone other than a former president, they would be held in a secret CIA black site right now, okay? They would be getting advanced interrogation techniqued in Guantanamo. Yeah, guys, the last time anything remotely like this happened, on the public stage at any rate, the United States executed Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. So, the last time anything remotely like this happened, it resulted in execution, okay? The danger now is Trump flees the country. I'm okay with death penalty just this one time. I would prefer him being kept in prison for life. No. Guys, if he gets convicted of this, it is 10,000% a felony. If there was another category above felony, this would be it. This is like super felony, okay? Super felonies. Before we're talking about, fraud crimes, okay? Before we were talking about, white-collar crime, where, even the Bernie Madoffs of the world, mostly get off scot-free, okay? Now we're talking about stole nuclear secrets. Possibly, given what we covered yesterday about the Trump's shady dealings with Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia's declared intent to try and procure nuclear weapons, it is not out of the question that Donald Trump was trying to deliver these secrets to Saudi agents, okay? If that is shown to be the case, and we know that investigators took security footage from Mar-A-Lago to examine when they did this raid, okay? If it is shown that Donald Trump was giving this intel to Saudi agents, he's fucking done. This is not something where he gets off scot-free just for being like a rich guy, or even the former president. This is he gets fucked by the long arm of the law, okay? Hey, Soci Inertia, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is big. I want all of this, but everyone else has said he won't get convicted. I mean, he's already admitted to taking the documents, and then said, well, even if I did take them, I declassified all of them. But guess what? The president can't declassify nuclear state secrets. Not by himself. And if there's no record of him declassifying with other state officials, which there isn't, he's fucked. He's on the hook for this. It's not like they just accidentally wound up in his possession. That's not a thing that can happen. I'm not saying he's convicted. All I'm saying is that this is, if anything is going to get him convicted on this, if he gets charged with this and they have the evidence that he did it, which I guarantee you, if Merrick Garland brings charges against Donald Trump, if the DOJ brings charges against Trump, they have him fucking dead to rights on this shit. Okay? This isn't like, oh, maybe we'll get him. Like, no, if they bring charges against Donald Trump on this, he's fucked. There's no way they risk a trial where they think they don't have him dead to rights. Yeah, that bread into toast is completely correct. There's no way they're risking a half-assed case on this. I hope he chooses. I hope discount Seth Rogen. I hope Trump chooses Alex Jones's attorneys. Well, here's the thing, Nova. This isn't in the hands of Democrats. An investigation by the DOJ isn't like the Democrats being like, yes, we want to go after him. Like, no. It doesn't work that way. I hope he represents himself. That would be the funniest shit. If it is nuclear, it's military tribunal. That could be, that's a possibility I hadn't considered until just now. I'm not sure. It could be both a military tribunal and federal law. It could open another case against him, to be honest. Yeah, honestly, Resnate is correct on this as well. Like, in order to execute this search warrant, they had to be 100% positive that this material was on his property. If there was any chance it wasn't, they would not have risked this. Fellini Fiend, thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate that very, very much. "5D chess, DeSantis leaked the warrant to hurt Trump." I don't think that's the case. Also, the warrant is coming out in full today, so that would be a silly thing to do. I am also hoping the execution of this warrant will hurt Republicans in November. And you know what? We have topics to talk about on that front. Ryla, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Holy moly. I appreciate that very, very much. The top secret docs equal aliens or nukes? It's nukes. We basically have it confirmed that it's nukes. There have been multiple leaks from around Trump, indicating that it is both SCI level clearance about our nuclear arsenal in some capacity, or perhaps about another country's nuclear arsenal, and that this also includes SAP, Special Access Program information about nukes, which is an even higher clearance level than top secret special compartmentalized intelligence. Okay, like this is as top secret as it gets, and it's not. I don't think it's aliens. What I heard is it's future weapons design. It could be future weapons designs. It could also be current weapons designs that are not currently known outside of, like, you know, top level military brass. All of which, by the way, hella illegal shit. I'm not gonna say we got him yet, guys, but if, and this is the big if all of this is true, he's done. He is done. I like Pi 311. Thank you very much for the 100 biddies. He is Dunzo Washington. Okay. Now, here's an exclusive from earlier today. FBI recovered 11 sets of classified documents in Trump search, inventory shows. Okay. So this is going to be developing pretty quickly, I think, over like the next few days. All right. Some of those 11 classified documents include some marked as top secret, meant to be available in special government facilities, meaning that they are not supposed to be revealed. Yeah, watch and see how many more turds try to commit an assault on an FBI field office, like in Cincinnati. I mean, it's not going to go well for them. Although, I do have to say, I do not understand why the guy who tried to assault the Cincinnati field office of the FBI went in with a nail gun when he also had an assault rifle. That something's not right in that guy's head. And now he's dead. Will Surge, thank you very much for the 500 biddies. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for paying my rent and buying me food. He's gonna nail them? Oh god. Oh god. The FBI agents took around 20 boxes of items, binders of photos, a handwritten note, and the executive grant of clemency for Mr. Trump's ally Roger Stone. A list of items removed from the property shows. Also included in the list was information about the President of France, according to the 3-page list. So, yeah, he also might have had compromat on the President of France, which is very, very interesting. Let's take a look at the live updates from the New York Times here. The Justice Department cited serious possible crimes in seeking the Mar-A-Lago warrant. A list of documents removed from former President Donald J. Trump's Florida residence, Mar-A-Lago, includes materials marked as top secret. Okay, we already read that part. Federal agents who executed the warrant did so to investigate possible crimes associated with violations of the Espionage Act, which outlaws the unauthorized retention of national security information that could harm the United States or aid a foreign adversary. A federal law that makes it a crime to destroy or conceal a document to obstruct a government investigation, and another statute associated with unlawful removal of government materials. The search on Monday seized 11 sets of documents in all, including some marked as classified, top secret, or SCI, which stands for sensitive compartmented information, meaning like no very few people know all of the info. Okay. So like again, this is basically the most secret of our secrets, okay? There are a few levels above that, but there are also rumblings that the FBI obtained special access SAP level documents as well. This is incredible. In total, agents collected 4 sets of top secret documents, 3 sets of secret documents, and 3 sets of confidential documents. Including in the manifest were also files pertaining to the pardon of Roger J. Stone Jr., longtime associate of Mr. Trump, and material on President Emmanuel Macron of France. The inventory, which accompanied a warrant issued by federal judge, is expected to be released as part of the Justice Department's efforts to make the warrant and some supporting materials public. The warrant appears to have been given agents fairly broad latitude in searching for materials deemed to be improperly stored at Mar-A-Lago, allowing access to the 45 office and all storage rooms and all other rooms or areas on the premise that might be used to store documents. So basically everywhere. Release the documents now, said Donald Trump amid a flurry of revelations about the investigation into his handling of White House documents. Mr. Trump has also been free to make public the warrants himself. So literally, as he's calling for the documents to be revealed, he has the documents. He has the, Addison Gardner, thank you very much for subscribing. He has the copy of the warrant, and he could make it public at any time, but he's choosing not to make it seem like the government is covering it up. Yes, here we go. The search was carried out as part of the government's effort to account for documents that one person briefed on the matter said related to some of the most highly classified programs run by the United States. This person told the New York Times that investigators had been concerned about material from what the government calls special access programs, a designation that is typically reserved for extremely sensitive operations carried out by the United States abroad or for closely held technologies and capabilities. Meaning, guys, like, special access programs are not supposed to be, like, something, like, the president just, like, takes home with him, okay? That's not how this works. If this person is correct, if this source is telling the truth, and Donald Trump took material from special access programs, if that is definitively proven, he is fucked. He is absolutely fucked. Yeah, like, guys, if the government even mentions special access stuff in public, that's a paddling, okay? That's a paddling right there, all right? Whatever agent or person mentioned that special access stuff, they're getting CIA blacksided, okay? And if this special access material, if this SAP material has to do with our nuclear codes, that is also against the Atomic Energy Act. I think it's called the Atomic Energy Act. I know it's Atomic, or possibly Atomic Act. Basically, the president cannot unilaterally disclose that information to anyone. It doesn't work that way. He can't do that. Trump is going to jail. I mean, if the leaks from around this investigation are real, if all of these are substantiated by this investigation, if they bring charges against Donald Trump, okay, if the government brings charges against Donald Trump, they have an airtight case. They will not be bringing charges against Donald Trump if they don't have one, okay? And again, guys, the Saudis literally just funneled over $2 billion into Jared Kushner's private equity firm. That is, by all accounts, a horrible business decision. And it's speculated that it's due to some favors the Trumps did while in office. Okay? Newsweek seems to think they had the knock list at Mar-A-Lago. What is the knock list? Oh, the non-official cover list is a list of covert operatives around the world? Wait, is that even real? This is from the Mission Impossible fan wiki. That would be big bad. Yeah, if he had a list of foreign spies, or a list of US spies around the world, yo, Newsweek has 2 sources. Let me take a look at Newsweek here. Newsweek has kind of been breaking a lot of these stories. Okay. In pursuing the unprecedented search of Donald Trump's residence on Monday, FBI was seeking to retrieve top secret and compartmented documents dealing with intelligence sources and methods. 2 federal government sources tell Newsweek. Documents with potential to reveal U.S. intelligence sources, including human sources on the American government payroll. Which is essentially saying that he might have had the knock list. like a non-official cover. Yeah, he might have had a list of U.S. intelligence operatives. This greatly complicates any public discussion of the documents or any substantiation of Trump's potential violation of U.S. law. The sources who were briefed on the investigation requested anonymity in order to discuss sensitive information. Compartmented is a specific term meaning classified information concerning or derived from intelligence sources, methods, or analytical processes, which is required to be handled within formal access control systems established by the Director of National Intelligence. Includes a variety of different access categories, for example, human, intercept, satellite sources, each of which limits how many people can know the nature of the compartment. One of the government sources says that special access program information was involved in the Mar-A-Lago case, a further category of information limited to an even smaller group of people. Intelligence sources familiar with the classification system and the investigation say that neither the search warrant nor the inventory, if unsealed, will likely answer most people's questions about whether the search was necessary. And this is a quote here. In order to prove that this was a matter of national security and essential to be done in this way, some detail on what Trump was keeping will have to be revealed. One intelligence officer granted anonymity to speak about an ongoing investigation tells Newsweek, that might be difficult for the government precisely because of the sensitivity of the documents. Under normal circumstances, investigators write a detailed list of all the materials taken from a person or property that is searched, filing a copy of that inventory with the court that approved the search warrant. But in the case of classified documents, the inventory list might be intentionally vague. For example, 10 documents numbered 1 through 10, consisting of 65 pages, stamped top secret and above. Since the assumption is that the search warrant might become public, neither the inventory nor the search warrant would include any classified information. The former president does not have authority to declassify such documents, intelligence sources say, because they are classified under statute rather than by executive order. Trump's possession of those documents and the fact that he was secreting them away came to light in the course of a multi-month federal government investigation that focused on the status of presidential records taken from the White House. The information as to the whereabouts of the documents, Newsweek previously reported, came from a confidential human source, presumably someone inside the Trump camp. While not acknowledging any details of the investigation on Thursday, Attorney General Merrick Garland stated that the Justice Department was asking that the search warrant and the inventory of property taken from Mar-A-Lago be released by the court. That request has been agreed to, officially, not just in public statements, by Donald Trump. Given the political firestorm that the search at Mar-A-Lago provoked, questions about the documents are of critical importance. If they were merely routine, as Trump insists, then the search will be seen as politically motivated. Fury might be quelled if the documents are indeed revealed to have highly classified and sensitive information. And the Justice Department can prove that the former president was holding on to them with no intention of giving them back. The public might conclude that the search was valid and necessary. Now, he was going to sell these. Yeah, by the way, it's very interesting. They don't mention what would happen if he had the intention to sell this info, which, in my opinion, is undeniable. There is no way Donald Trump just held on to highly classified state secrets as like a trophy piece, okay? He was going to sell these to some interested party, okay? Or possibly already did. Let's see. In the aftermath of the search, the Trump camp insists that President Trump had the right to declassify information, and thus none of the records were classified. Kash Patel, a Trump loyalist who served in intelligence and defense positions in the administration, and who also identifies himself as one of Donald Trump's representatives to the National Archives, told the Just News podcast that Trump was the ultimate arbiter of the classification of a document, and thus there could be no wrongdoing. That characterization is incorrect, experts say, because documents that are covered by statute and not classified under presidential executive order cannot be classified or declassified by the president. This includes nuclear secrets under the Atomic Energy Act and documents that might identify CIA case officers or agents under the Intelligence Identities Protection Act of 1982. The Washington Post has reported that the documents sought at Mar-a-Lago related to nuclear weapons. So that is quite interesting. So in this Newsweek piece, right, we have two pieces of information, okay? We have two pieces of information here. One is that the this could potentially reveal spies. This could reveal CIA or I don't know, black site operatives around the world. Okay, he might have access to something along the lines of a knock list, which, while that might not be the official terminology, that's what we're gonna go with. Okay, he might have that, and he might have also had nuclear secrets, because we have multiple sources now familiar with the investigation saying that they were essentially looking for both nuclear secrets and human resources secrets. We'll say, okay. I really want to see a chud now cope with these revelations. Well, here's a funny thing. Okay, I found a good clip. All right, this is from earlier today, folks. This is from earlier today. All right, yeah, this is wild shit. Okay, Fox News is kind of doing a confusion. Okay, they do not know exactly what to do or how to react to this. Okay, so here's just a brief clip that I think shows you the disconnect going on between conservatives and Trump world.
My constituents are deeply, deeply concerned about the politicization of the FBI and Biden's DOJ.
Well, of course, the FBI director was appointed by Donald Trump, the former president.
My constituents are deeply, deeply concerned about the politicization of the FBI and Biden's DOJ.
Well, of course, the FBI director was appointed by Donald Trump, the former.
Guys, they're like, well, we can't fully go along with this, guys. We can't fully go along with that narrative because, well, some really troubling things are coming out here. How has 10 years worth of news happened this week? Yo, not even this week, in the span of the last 2 days, right? Beaver Bandit, I do read. I have a degree in English literature, with a specialization in analysis. So, hey, using that degree. Let's go here. We have more content, of course. Fucking love that top. Thank you, Resonate. Because it's supposed to be it's supposed to be a bodysuit, but my ass got too big. But it fits really well up here. I really like how it looks on me. But I have to wear it as a top now. Dark Brandon obviously planted the Saudi money on Kushner. True. Yep. Now, let's take a look at this warrant that has been unsealed. All right. Okay. Notice of filing of redacted documents. The United States hereby gives notice that it is filing the following document, which is a redacted version of material previously filed on this case number under seal. The search warrant, not including the affidavit, signed and approved by the court on August 5th, 2022, including attachments A and B. The property receipt listing items seized pursuant to the search filed with the court on August 11th, 2022. Signed by Juan Antonio Gonzalez, United States Attorney, Florida Bar. All right, let's take a look here. Search and seizure warrant to any authorized law enforcement officer. An application by a federal law enforcement officer or an attorney for the government requests the search of the following person or property located in the Southern District of Florida. I find the affidavits or any recorded testimony establish probable cause to search and seize the person or property described above, and that such search will reveal, see attachment B. The first section, see attachment A. You are commanded to execute this warrant on or before August 19th, not to exceed 14 days, in the daytime between 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Okay. Let's take a look at attachment A. The premises to be searched, 1100 S Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida 33480, is further described as a resort club and residence located near the intersection of Southern Boulevard and South Ocean Boulevard. It is described as a mansion with approximately 58 bedrooms, 33 bathrooms on a 17-acre estate. The locations to be searched include the 45 office, all storage rooms, and all other rooms or areas within the premises used or available to be used by the former POTUS and his staff, and in which boxes or documents could be stored, including all structures or buildings on the estate. It does not include areas currently, i.e. at the time of the search, being occupied, rented, or used by third parties such as Mar-A-Lago members, and not otherwise used or available to be used by former President of the United States and his staff, such as private guest suites. Okay? That makes sense, but basically, yeah, all rooms that are not currently occupied or accessible by the POTUS can be searched. Also, goddamn, 58 bedrooms and 33 bathrooms. Yeah, basically anything Donald J. Trump has access to is fair game. Okay, attachment B, which is probably the more interesting part of this document. To be seized. All physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, or other items illegally possessed in violation of 18 U.S.C. 793, 2071, or 1519, including the following. Any physical documents with classification markings, along with any containers/boxes, including any other contents in which such documents are located, as well as any other containers, boxes that are collectively stored or found together with the aforementioned documents and containers/boxes. B. Information, including communications in any form regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified material. And I think what's interesting about Section B here is transmission or communications of classified material. Which, folks, that would be why they are taking the security footage from Mar-A-Lago. They took the security footage from Mar-A-Lago under this part. Communications, information, including communications in any form, regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified material. Meaning, they have reason to believe that there might be evidence on the security cameras that would show the transmission of such material. They might have fucking got him on this one, okay? C. Any government and or presidential records created between January 20th of 2017 and January 20th of 2021, or D. Any evidence of the knowing alteration, destruction, or concealment of any government and or presidential records, or of any documents with classification markings, which might be another reason to use the security cameras, okay? Savage Like Fred providing some useful info. 18 U.S. Code 793, gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. 18 U.S. Code 2071, concealment, removal, or mutilation generally, I assume of pertaining to information. 18 U.S. Code 1519, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations and bankruptcy. Yeah, okay. This also includes a list of boxes, a list of what they seized, okay? So we're going to go through this. Description of items. The top one is just documents. Box labeled A14, box labeled A26, box labeled A43, box labeled A13, box labeled A33. Executive grant of clemency regarding Roger Jason Stone Jr. Info regarding the President of France. A leather-bound box of documents. Various classified, top secret, special compartmentalized information. The SCI keeps mucking me up. What does that stand for again, chat? SCI, secret compartmentalized information. Thank you, Vox and Sox. Or special compartmentalized information. I think that sounds correct. Special. So we have. Did I confuse it again? Yeah. I think you're thinking of SAP. Okay. Various classified, top secret, special compartmentalized info. Special? Okay, my bad. Potential presidential record, binder of photos, handwritten note, box labeled A1, box labeled A12, box labeled A15, miscellaneous secret documents, box labeled A16, miscellaneous top secret documents, box labeled A17, box labeled A18, miscellaneous top secret documents, box labeled A27, miscellaneous confidential documents, box labeled A24, miscellaneous secret Yo, some of this is so vague, but also just miscellaneous secret documents. You don't just accidentally wind up with this stuff, guys. Box labeled A30, box labeled A32, box labeled A35, box labeled A23, confidential document, box labeled A22, box labeled A24, box labeled A34, box labeled A39, miscellaneous secret documents, box labeled A40, box labeled A41, miscellaneous confidential documents, box labeled A42, miscellaneous top secret documents, box labeled A71, box labeled A73, and the miscellaneous... Oh, looks like there was a scribble on this. I think this says miscellaneous top/sci secret documents? Or there was a spelling error, miscellaneous top secret documents. Boxes labeled 420 through 69 containing aliens. Fuck yeah. So what we see from this is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 different collections of top secret documents. We have various classified / top secret / special compartmentalized information documents. But what I find most interesting is the first item. Yeah, TSCI is almost always just called TS/CI or SCI. Or TS/SCI. The fact that he had miscellaneous TS/CI documents, SCI documents, is so over the top crazy I cannot begin to express it. Yeah, but that's the thing, KBS. He also had documents, which I would imagine, given that they have no description other than documents, I think that has to do with SAP. That has to do with Special Access Program material. Because that would not be described in this. Like, they literally would not be able to even tell you that it has that. Okay? In an official document. Yeah, they literally cannot say that because it is such a top secret thing. Why in the world would he take documents pertaining to nuclear weapons info? I can't imagine that accidentally gets mixed up with personal letters from world leaders. No, ham mods, there is absolutely no shot that this guy accidentally had this stuff. Okay? There's no way in hell that he just accidentally, whoopsie-daisy, wound up with Special Access Program documents about nuclear material. Like, what we're talking about when it comes to this is, you have to, punch in specifically to gather that material, and then you have to punch out. You cannot leave with it, okay? So this is a deliberate... I would call this a deliberate theft of nuclear secrets from the US government. Sky Comet, let me put it this way. I don't want to get your hopes up too high, but if on the security camera footage, which we know they confiscated from Mar-A-Lago, if they have evidence on camera or from an agent or something confirming that he was trying to sell this stuff to a foreign agent, and they bring charges against him for that, if you see them bring charges about that, they have him dead to rights. They have him dead to rights. There's no way they would bring charges about this against a former president unless they had an airtight case. When did he even ask for these documents? When did he need them and for what? Well, Violent Smoker, we covered this yesterday, but one of the really interesting things, okay, is this document from 2019, okay? And I know that this, by the way, not confirmed, okay? Not confirmed at all, but this does have something to do with nuclear secrets and Donald Trump, okay? And it's this report from the US House of Representatives. Whistleblowers raise grave concerns with Trump administration's efforts to transfer sensitive nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia. Okay? So we went through the executive summary of this last night. And here, I'll link it in chat for you to look at yourselves. But essentially, what this document shows is that there was a concerted effort to transfer nuclear state secrets to Saudi Arabia. Specifically bypassing the safety standards and protocols that are designed with the intention regarding this technology to prevent other nations from developing nuclear weapons. On top of that, Saudi Arabia has repeatedly over the years, specifically MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, has expressed interest in having nuclear weapons. Repeatedly. And, just to draw one more dot for you, okay? This article was released in April. Okay? This was put together in April. Jared Kushner's deal with Saudi Arabia sure looks corrupt. And we covered this last night. And we went down. Okay? Yeah, here's a report from the New York Times. A Saudi sovereign wealth fund led by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, often referred to as MBS, invested $2 billion in Kushner's fledgling private equity firm 6 months after Trump left office. It is blisteringly clear from the details that while MBS's expenditure did not make financial sense, it made political sense as payback for favorable treatment. Additionally, $1 billion was funneled into Steve Mnuchin's financial equity firm from the Saudis. So either, now I'm just putting some dots together. Either this is back scratching for preferential treatment when they were in power, with the hope that in the future they are like Donald Trump might get reelected and show them more favorable treatment. Or that $3 billion transfer might have something to do with a different avenue of sharing nuclear secrets. Something we know the Trump administration, that Trump and people in his orbit were interested in doing, and that the Saudis were very interested in. And we know that Saudis have had agents at Mar-A-Lago for years now. We know that Trump is highly indebted to Russian mobs for loans he took out from Deutsche Bank. Some Some of it for his golf course in Scotland. We know this because Eric Trump gave an interview to Golf Magazine. The journalist asked Eric Trump where his dad got the money. Well, we also know that he's indebted to Russia. So he could have taken this as like a way to pay back his Russian loans. So that's another possibility, okay? So if you guys remember, there was, towards the beginning of the Trump administration, a very, very lucrative oil deal that Russia was interested in pursuing. Yes, the Rosneft deal. ExxonMobil wanted for years to do a deal with Rosneft, which is the Russian state oil company. And Western sanctions were mainly in the way. So during the early years of the Obama administration, when there was a brief warming of relations, ExxonMobil signed an exploration deal with the Russians. Exxon and Rosneft, which is only half owned by the Russian government but state-run, agreed to invest $3.2 billion in search for oil in deep water fields in the Arctic and elsewhere. And ExxonMobil halted the deal after Donald Trump was unsuccessful in removing those sanctions. Yeah, ExxonMobil was actively lobbying the U.S. government to remove the sanctions. Yeah. And this, by the way, the size of this deal was over $500 billion. We aren't talking about chump change, okay? Yeah, in 2017, here we go. ExxonMobil got Russia sanctions bypass under Tillerson, paving the way for a over $500 million deal to do this exploration of oil resources in the Arctic. But the sanctions never got lifted. Oh, I know all the connection stuff. I've been covering this story for a long time. Paul Manafort is basically $500 billion. If the exploration was allowed to have gone through, there are some estimates of over trillions of dollars in revenue from that exploration. And Rex Tillerson was the ex-Exxon CEO. Yes. So anyway, all I'm saying is that there are a lot of shady people in Donald Trump's orbit who would be more than happy to purchase this information at astronomical costs. Ashley says, as former holder of SCI clearances and several code word level things, he is so screwed and hard. Yeah, exactly, Ashley. By the way, chat, my mod Ashley helped to invent the internet, and probably is not someone you want to cross. So listen to what she says, please. Oh, no. Guys, if any one of you in chat had ever taken, like, one document of SCI level clearance intel, okay? One page, okay? You would be in a CIA black site. You would be in a CIA black site within the day, okay? But because Donald Trump is the former president, they have had to cross their T's and dot their I's. And if they bring charges against him, you know he is fucked. He is fucked. Reality Winner was in prison for like 5 years for leaking one document. Yeah, and like, guys, this is stuff that minimum would get him in prison for like 20 years, okay? Minimum. Like, we're talking about the last time someone, like, was publicly caught for this kind of shit, they were executed, okay? Yeah, no, basically, no look at Flash, you are correct. They can't, like, this isn't like, oh, it's fake news and it's just gonna go away. You know, like, this is not something they can just, like, hand wave away. This isn't white collar crime. This is, like, if Donald Trump had just stolen, like, $200 million, like, you know, he might get off with, like, a fine for a couple million, okay? But this isn't fraud. This is nuclear state secrets. And if he is shown to have stolen those, he's fucking done. This is serious. Yeah, I'm really trying to hammer this home because I think a lot of people have just become so used to the way the media treats Trump with like little kid gloves, and the way our systems have treated Trump with little kid gloves. They think that he's like made of Teflon, that nothing can stick to him. If this is proven to get back to Trump, he's fucked. Now, that depends on the case that they can make against Trump, on the sequence of events that they can definitively prove. Which is why I'm saying, if they bring charges, he's going to prison. At the very least. About the Rosenbergs, well, I mean, you can call me Jess. There's definitely debate over that, but all I'm saying is the last time people were charged with this and found guilty, they were executed. Okay? Now, whether or not the Rosenbergs were guilty of this, that's an entirely another discussion. What concerns me is if they press charges. Is there a chance they don't? Or is there something he can do to finagle his way out before the charges? Well, so that's a good question, Morbatoth, okay? That's why I'm really heavily emphasizing the if, right? Let me put it this way. We've gone from like 2 weeks ago, a series of like, I don't know, 5 different ifs. You know, if they can do this, then they could do this, and then if that happens, this could happen, and if that happens, this could happen, and if all 5 of those things, if all 5 of those ifs come to pass, Donald Trump will be charged, okay? But now we're basically down to one if. We've gone from a lot of different pieces needing to fall into place to just one piece needing to fall into place. Honestly, him being charged might be the scarier option. I think again, if this is true, if he did steal nuclear secrets, he needs to be charged, regardless of like the price that might be rained down politically. Like, he needs to be charged if he did this. You have to know that Alex Joneses of the world are going to blow all the hot air to spin the story. Well, yeah, I mean, they've already started, right? According to the document you linked, the Saudis and Trumpists were interested in developing nuclear power plants in Saudi Arabia. Not clear how secret nuclear weapons info might relate here. Nuclear power plant technology is not secret, is it? Nuclear power plant technology is fairly controlled. It is highly controlled. And the transfer of nuclear power plant technology is specifically governed under the Atomic Energy Act to require about 9 different prerequisites to ensure that nuclear power plants installed in a given country could not be weaponized or used to develop nuclear weapons. Raymond Barry. So that's the issue. The Trump administration was deliberately trying to circumvent the protections that are designed to prevent a country from developing nuclear weapons. That was the issue, and that was why whistleblowers went to Congress with this information. Hey, Semi-Locon. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Hello, Jason here. Thank you very much for subscribing. And for the follow. Somehow you've been subscribed for 6 months, and you wait, hello, Jason here. Did you just subscribe for 6 months now? Or have you been subscribed for 6 months? I'm confused by the notification. Thank you for subscribing for 6 months in advance, if I'm reading this right. I really appreciate that. What if the FBI planted the evidence? Okay, but what if NASA faked the moon landing? The FBI is not gonna fucking do that, okay? Do you know how fast that information would leak if the FBI planted evidence? Whomst among us has not had SCI plus files fall into our bags? Him being charged might be the scarier option, That's true. But that is a concern outside of the Justice Department can't be considering that. Okay, so yeah, chat. We have people in chat who I can confirm and vouch for have had the level of clearance that is necessary to handle the documents that Donald Trump had in his possession. If you were not a former president of the United States, you would be black-sided immediately, okay? 7TV is free, so don't worry about having to pay more for emotes. Semi-Locon, you can blame Entrama for that one, okay? What is black-sided? Think being hauled off to Guantanamo Bay, except instead of it being Guantanamo Bay, it's a site that you have no words to describe the location of. Because before arriving, you were drugged for like 3 weeks before arriving there. We're trying to get you hosted on I'm gonna guess on Voosh, on Vosh.gg, but the mobs are being difficult. Yeah, the mods. Wait, where are you trying to get me hosted? On Twitch, the links get blocked out because we had too many neo-Nazis sharing gore porn a while ago, and we never wanted that again. A bucket and mop with our financial security. Yeah, you know, a black site could be like an abandoned, I don't know, lighthouse on a lonely rock in the middle of nowhere. You know. Okay, but let us continue because we have a lot of things to talk about today. Okay. Additionally, one of the interesting things is in the fallout of all of this. Looks like the search warrant is public now. Yep, we just finished going over it. And again, I'm gonna reiterate, the number one thing on this warrant that is very interesting to me is the inclusion of the first item, which is just documents. Okay? It is just documents. All right? Documents. So guys, yeah, if they're just saying documents, that means it is special access program material, which is material that is so highly classified that they cannot publicly acknowledge that it exists. Okay? We have sources from Newsweek, we have sources from the New York Times and the Washington Post, okay? All of these have had leakers tell them a couple of different things. One, that there is evidence that Trump had information on nuclear weapon systems. Now, what that might be is fairly broad. It's unlikely that he just has, like, expired nuclear launch codes. What's far more likely is that he has either design documents of current or future nuclear weapon systems, or he has information regarding the nuclear weapon systems and capabilities of other countries. Okay? Which also would be a really fucking big deal if they got out into the wrong hands, right? Additionally, Newsweek had a source confirmed to them, had actually two sources confirmed to them, that it is suspected that Donald Trump had access to what is essentially a knock list, which is essentially a list of government assets, let's say, of a very sensitive list of human resources posted around the world in possibly compromising situations. Essentially a list of secret operations around the world. Yeah, basically the list from Mission Impossible. It wouldn't be called that officially, but it would be like essentially lists of people or information that could be used to identify current CIA agents on operation around the world. Is this going to be like the WikiLeaks things? No, this is going to be like if he can, guys. This is going to be like if if the government is able to prove that he had these things and that he was sharing them with foreign agents. I mean, guys, just him having this shit is like him spending like 20 years in prison. Okay, just him being in possession of it. But if it is shown that he like shared this with foreign agents, which again, Mar-A-Lago has been riddled with those for the last 6 years. He is fucking done. Like that is life imprisonment in a best case scenario. I mean, it'll be interesting, right? One hand wonder. It'll be interesting to hear if which foreign states start killing spies. You know? Yeah, I remember when the Valerie Plame thing happened, one spy getting exposed was a shit show. I can't imagine an entire list of them being compromised, right? He's going to get a lot of people killed. He could very easily get a lot of people killed with those documents. That is precisely why they are highly classified. And speaking of chat, speaking of highly classified material, and January 6th and how all of this might interplay going forward. The revelations have now pushed more people in Trump world to come forward to the January 6th panel. So let's take a look at this.
The January 6th committee.
This is from CNN.
Is making progress in interviewing members of the Trump cabinet. One focus of the questioning, how serious were conversations about invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office after the Capitol riots.
9 former Trump cabinet officials are now talking with the January 6th Commission.
CNN has learned the former Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, was interviewed in recent days. The former Education Secretary, Betsy DeVos, former National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien, are in talks with the committee, as is the former Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe. So far, 9 former Trump officials have engaged in some way, with the committee. Our reporters are back now to discuss. And as one of the topics we know the committee is interested in is how serious. We know there was a conversation about should we invoke the 25th Amendment? Should we essentially say the president's unfit, remove him from office? Betsy DeVos, who's negotiating with the committee, her spokesman says maybe she's not, but we believe that she is, said this to USA Today in June.
I felt that there were things that
Elaine Chao is Mitch McConnell's wife.
The president could have done to stop the activity, to turn it back, to avoid all of the things that ensued, and it was just a bridge too far. I had conversations with a number of my colleagues, and then importantly, I also spoke with the vice president, and he made clear to me that that was not a direction that he was going to move in.
There's a lot there in the sense that, it's pretty right there confirmation that this was a serious conversation among members of the Trump cabinet. And then Mike Pence was like, I don't think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it is striking that we've now had a former cabinet member go out there on the record and confirm that she was having discussions about the 25th Amendment. We also know from our reporting that Elaine Chao was having discussions about the 25th Amendment. They found out pretty quickly that these were unlikely to go anywhere or be successful in removing Trump from office, that the Vice President Mike Pence was not going to go along with it. And both of those women tendered their resignations on January 7th. So, it's pretty clear the committee does want to be able to get the full picture of just how deep-seated these misgivings were, in the days before.
Well, I think prior to January 6th, Mike Pence was against the 25th Amendment. Probably in favor of it afterwards, though.
For January 6th, in the immediate aftermath of January 6th, so much so that people were seriously considering trying to remove the president from office.
And again, it's another example of how the committee, knowing the political attacks it's going to get from Trump and his allies, Betsy DeVos is a member of the Trump cabinet. Elaine Chao is a member of the Trump cabinet. These are Trump loyalists who are there to the very end that the committee is using as witnesses against Trump.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the broader strategy the committee is using. I mean, clearly they've had testimony now from Elaine Chao, from Cassidy Hutchinson, who is very well-informed White House aide. And so I think it speaks to their message that these were people surrounding the president who had concerns about his fitness for office. And I think bringing in someone like Elaine Chao and potentially Betsy DeVos
Vox and Sox, Breitbart definitely leaked info on the warrant before the warrant was released. revealing that Trump is under investigation for breaches of the Espionage Act.
Lines their point and their line of inquiry into the 25th Amendment and to how fit the former president was during the aftermath of January 6th and before then. And
it will be striking. They're spending the month of August doing these interviews, and then we expect more public hearings when they come back in September, September being 2 months before a midterm election. Again, the normal midterm arc is it's about the president and the party that owns the White House, but the January 6th committee has made some pretty dramatic.
Well, howdy there, Internet people.
We're gonna see what this scruffy man has to say.
It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about the ongoing saga related to the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and his adventures and misadventures with the Department of Justice. Recently, the Department of Justice searched his home. The speculation was that it was about an attempt to find some documents. His allies said that this was baseless. Okay? Reporting is now suggesting that among the documents recovered at his home during the search include documents that had the label TSSCI. We will get to what that means in a minute. Now, that is in addition to other classified documents, but we're just going to focus on that one when we talk about it. It is also being reported that the warrant indicates that one of the violations that the Department of Justice may be looking into is a violation of the Espionage Act. So, TSSCI. The media is going to be talking about classifications all day, I'm sure. This will be the one time the media understates something. They'll go through the various types.
See you,
what you
Ryla.
need to know is that TS, top secret. Okay, this is incredibly sensitive material to begin with. SCI is kind of a modifier. Sensitive, compartmented information.
Sensitive.
This is a batch of secrets that is so top secret, they can only be viewed in a room specifically designed to protect secrets. There are a lot of formers on social media, former military, former intelligence, and they're making these statements about, what would happen if I had done this? First, let's be real. You would never be able to do this. There are too many safeguards in place to stop you. This wouldn't happen. And if it did, it would be something that was very intentional and required a lot of work. But the statements to me...
Yeah, like guys, to get one of these documents would be like you doing a rendition of Ocean's 11, okay? Imagine an Ocean's 11 style heist for every single one of those documents, okay? I can confirm he is 100% correct about how to handle TS/SCI. I can also confirm his statements. Yeah.
They're cute. They're funny. Because it's stuff like, if I did this, they would have already arrested me. No, if you did this, you'd be in the basement somewhere being interrogated until you talk.
Yeah, you would not be arrested for this, chat. You would be black-cited.
Talked. And they would not hold anything back. I'd be looking at 10 to 20. No, if you took SCI documents and were given the opportunity to return them, elected not to, and, went about your day possibly meeting with foreign nationals, no, you wouldn't be looking at 10 to 20. 10 to 20 would be what the groundskeeper tells your family when they go to visit you. Row 10, plot 20. There's no way that the media is going to frame this properly. These are big secrets. Now, the president, I guess, former president.
Yo, and Ryu Soundworks, Guantanamo Bay is if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you get sent to Guantanamo Bay. Specifically because then other people know where you are. Otherwise, you just disappear off the face of the earth.
I guess is now saying that these documents were declassified. He declassified them before he left office.
Nope.
Okay, maybe, sure, that's possible. It's worth noting that that process doesn't just happen.
Chat, it's also worth noting here that that process does not apply, as we've covered before. The process of declassification cannot be done unilaterally by a president regarding nuclear secrets or regarding, like, CIA personnel. Okay? Those are not things that the president can unilaterally declassify. So, no, he hasn't done that. If he has secrets related to either of those two things, those things are classified by statute and not by executive authority.
Because the president thinks it does. It's not just something that he can think, oh, well, these are no longer classified. It doesn't work like that. His allies, who called this baseless.
No. This is, like, guys, January 6th was like Watergate, but bigger. This has no equivalent in US history. Like, maybe the closest you could get as an equivalent would be Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. Okay? But even then, they weren't the fucking former presidents of the United States. There is nothing equivalent to this. There is nothing equivalent to this in the US history. Sorry, that was an empty Coke can. There is no equivalent here.
And said it was a political job and all of this stuff and riled up people. They need to take a look at themselves right now, and you need to figure out where you want to be, because this is serious. This isn't a joke. These are documents related to national security. This is stuff spy movies are based on. If you choose to stand beside this man politically after this, you never get to talk about supporting the troops again because you're putting them at risk. You never get to talk about wanting a strong country again because you're weakening it. You never get to talk about how diversity training is weakening the military, because nothing weakens it more than not being able to protect its secrets. Trump's actions, regardless of how this shakes out as far as criminal liability for him.
By the way, guys, when he says this is what, like, spy movies are based on, he's 100% correct. The plot of Mission Impossible, and I'm just going to read from the Wikipedia here. This is the first paragraph of the plot of the original Mission Impossible movie. After finishing a mission in Kiev, Jim Phelps and his latest IMF team are sent to Prague to stop rogue agent Alexander Golitsyn from stealing the CIA knock list. Okay? Literally the thing that is the MacGuffin of the Mission Impossible movies. What is what is possibly at play here. Even if you are a fucking fascist, how do you defend this? Honestly, this is how the fascists are going to defend it, chat. They are going to say that the FBI planted the evidence, that the FBI is compromised, and that we need to disband the FBI and form a new agency that is accountable only to the president. The real president. Okay? And they are going to advocate essentially for a kind of an SS of sorts, the American SS. Not like in the hyperbolized terms that, like, the left often uses, but like a quite literal Gestapo for the United States. A brown shirt, a formalized brown shirt battalion. Okay? That is exactly what they want. Okay? And that is honestly what people like Steven Crowder are openly advocating for right now. They want a secret police force answerable only to Donald Trump.
His actions undermined the entire classification system that the U.S. has, and is going to require a massive reworking of how classified material is handled, simply because he apparently wanted to store some of them in a storage room next to the pool. Next to the pool. Chlorine, tablets, TSSCI documents right next to it. That's wild. That's wild. Some of the documents that were recovered from his residence were in a storage room by the pool. Call me crazy, but I don't think that's really a secure location.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. He put a lock on it, Bo. He put a lock on it, okay? I'm sure, okay? I am sure that no one could possibly get through the lock that he put on that door, okay? I'm sure.
The lockpicking lawyer, and I recently came across a master lock product that I'd never seen before. I believe because it's made for the European market, and to be fair, it probably isn't marketed to guys like me. It's the model 3430D KISS, and Master Lock gives it a 4 out of 10 rating on their security scale. What's interesting to me, though, is a comparison between this lock and the Master Magnum model M15, which Master gives a 10 out of 10 security rating. That's because I think the comparison really shows the low priority the company affords to pick resistance. Now, it doesn't take more than a glance to know the M15 is physically superior. It has a tough boron alloy shackle, a beefy steel lock body, and it weighs about 10 times more than the 3430. But that advantage disappears when the cores are examined. They both have 5-pin cores, but while the Master has 5 standard pins in a relatively open keyway, the 3430 has 5 security pins in a much more restrictive keyway. That's not going to make much of a difference to someone like me, but a novice picker would likely be able to open this lock, while the other requires at least some skill. So let's see what it takes to get both of these open. We're going to start with the M15. I'm going to use bottom of the keyway tension with a thick wiper insert and a standard hook in 20.
By the way, keep in mind, if you are a trained foreign spy, you know how to pick a lock, okay? You know how to pick a lock probably better than this guy does. So let's just see how much security this lock conveys to those top secret documents.
Nothing on 1, click on 2, click on 3, nothing on 4, and a click out of 5. That should just leave 1 and 4. Click out of 1, click out of 4, and we got this open. Okay, with 5 standard pins, we probably should be able to rake this open as well. Let's give that a try.
Jesus.
Okay, moving over to the 3430. Again, I'm going to use bottom of the keyway tension with a somewhat smaller wiper insert and a standard hook in 20.
I'm not saying that the lockpicking lawyer isn't extremely good at what he does. All I'm saying is the type of training that these people go through probably includes very requires mastery of lockpicking.
5 thousandths. Little counter rotation on 1 and a click there. Same on 2.
Jaina, I'm glad you enjoy it.
Rotation and a click out of 3.
I'm just getting started, baby.
4,
gonna be bigger than Hassan.
And a click out of 5. Back to the beginning. Another click out of 1. It's possible we have a serrated pin there. Little click on 3. Click out of 4. We lost our false set. Click on 5.
Right, Scrunny
Dweeb? A bit of that false set.
It's all Doodleburb.
Counter rotation on 1, and we got this open. Okay, folks, I stopped trying to make sense of master lock design decisions long ago, but I think this comparison shows how little pick resistance factors into them. In any case, that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or...
Yeah, Natalie Marie, no, these documents were in a storage room by the pool with one padlock on the door. The safe that he had was, I believe, was in his office and was drilled open by the FBI. So some documents were found in his office, but also some were found in the storage room.
Even if he, blinked and nodded or whatever he thinks needs to be done to declassify something, even if he did that beforehand, that's probably not an appropriate place to store that stuff.
And again, he can't declassify this info. And you can call me Jess. Nah, I won't change. I mean, I'll change for the better. How about that? If I do change, it will be for the better.
This is going to be ongoing. This is really bad news for the former president. It is even worse news for his allies, because you're going to have to make a choice. I would stop with the rhetoric. It's already out of hand. There are already people doing things that they probably wouldn't be doing if people weren't riling them up with baseless claims. Anyway.
Look, if I buy a $3 million house, you guys can give me all kinds of shit, okay? That's fine. I'll be rich enough to take it. Oh God. I again, like what Bo says, if this stuff sticks, guys, if they charge him, if the state brings charges against Donald Trump for this, he is done. There is no, oh, he's going to run for president. He's done. Because they have a case against him if they're bringing charges. If you buy a $3 million house, can we have a slumber party? Maybe. Where'd you get that top? Honestly, it's a bodysuit that my ass got too big for. So it's not technically a top. And technically, I don't think I'd wear this out in public. But I can't remember where I got it. Otherwise, I would tell you. What's the timeline for bringing charges? Honestly, that's a great question, Rio Soundworks. I would estimate that they're trying to bring charges before Donald Trump announces that he's running for president. Now, what that timeline might be is kind of dictated by Donald Trump. But I honestly, probably the best play he could make right now is immediately announcing that he's running for president. But I would estimate that they are going over the security footage. They are going over all of the intel they have to see if they can charge him for transmitting any of this information to foreign agents. You're discounting the possibility of more riots? I'm not discounting the possibility. I'm just saying, like, whether or not riots happen are not going to dictate whether or not they charge him. I like, the riots, if they do charge him, are almost guaranteed to happen, but that isn't something that should play into the decision-making here. I think they got him. They just trying to figure out how bad before bringing charges. Yeah, Lee McGee, they're trying to figure out how badly they got him, and they're trying to figure out how to present that case in the most, airtight manner possible. If he's charged, they'll do another January 6th at least. Let me put it this way, Bockel. If they try to do another January 6th, I don't think there's going to be as much restraint as last time they did January 6th. On either side, right? On either side. And more people will die, but there's not, like... That's on the people committing that crime. Okay? More riots would just show the real face of the Law and Order Party. And it shouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if it was on the left anyway. Ben over at TYT would know a lot about the military/government clearances. She was in the military and operated drones that unfortunately took people's lives. Oh yeah, no, Jaina, 100%. Like, if they tried January 6th again, there aren't going to be, like, the kid gloves a second time. Honestly, we don't need outside confirmation about this clearance stuff, mostly because we have experts on military clearance in chat right now. And yes, Ryu Soundworks. I love me some Legal Eagle, and wouldn't you know it, I actually prepped some of his content today. So let's take a look at it.
FBI raided Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago. Well, the FBI executed a search warrant and took a bunch of documents and things. But yes, this is unprecedented in America. Yes, it could be the beginning of a criminal prosecution of the former president.
Again, one-hand wonder, I think it's largely irrelevant to whether or not Trump gets charged.
Yes, it could be the tip of the spear of a political witch hunt by the Biden administration against a political rival. Or it could be a mundane effort to retrieve archival
Republican politicians are tired of Trump. Republican voters, not so much.
Documents that leads to absolutely nothing else.
And again, the people who would be organizing a second January 6th would probably be like militia folks who are like crazy Trump supporters. All right, let's see what the New York Times has updated. Yeah, here was a part that I was reading from the New York Times, okay? The search was carried out as part of the government's effort to account for documents that one person briefed on the matter said related to some of the most highly classified programs run by the United States. That person told the New York Times that investigators had been concerned about material from what the government calls special access programs, a designation that is typically reserved for extremely sensitive operations carried out by the United States abroad, or for closely held technologies and capabilities. Let's take a look at some of the more recent updates here. Yep, on Truth Social, conservatives are talking about starting a war and conspiracy theory mongering. A lot of this is rehashing stuff we've already covered. Obama did not keep classified documents, the National Archives confirms. Seeking to deflect attention from reports that the classified documents he had kept in his Florida home might have contained materials related to nuclear weapons, former President Donald J. Trump claimed on Friday that his predecessor, Barack Obama, had done the same thing. President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages of documents, much of them classified, Mr. Trump said in a statement. How many of those pertain to nuclear? The word is lots. Jesus. He can't, like, the way he communicates is so fucking silly, chat. Maggie LaViolent, thank you very, very much for subscribing and for being subscribed for 5 goddamn months. I very much appreciate it. But the National Archives and Records Administration, or NARA, which preserves and maintains records after a president leaves office, confirmed on Friday afternoon that Mr. Obama had not kept his documents, classified and unclassified, as required under the Presidential Records Act of 1978. The National Archives assumed exclusive legal and physical custody of Obama presidential records when President Barack Obama left office in 2017, in accordance with the Presidential Records Act, the statement said. NARA moved approximately 30 million pages of unclassified records to a NARA facility in the Chicago area, where they are maintained exclusively by NARA. Additionally, NARA maintains the classified Obama presidential records in a NARA facility in the Washington, D.C. area. As required by the PRA, the statement added, referring to the Presidential Records Act, former President Obama has no control over where and how NARA stores the presidential records of his administration. Spokesman for Mr. Trump did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Okay, no new info here, aside from what we just talked about. Though writers for the Times are wondering, what do investigators suspect that Trump, by hoarding the documents, was trying to impede, since the search was done under 3 different laws, specifically Section 1519, which relates to obstruction law. It applies to document crimes undertaken with the intent to impede, obstruct, or influence the investigation or proper administration of any matter within the jurisdiction of federal documents or agencies. I mean, to me, it seems fairly obvious that they would conduct this search because they're worried about the destruction of potential documents that would relate to this, the other two laws and statutes. Also, just to show you guys this. This picture of Donald Trump. Yo, he looks scared as hell, man. He looks scared as shit. That is not the face of someone who is confident. That isn't photoshopped? No, it's not photoshopped. It's from Wednesday. That is from Wednesday, chat. He like they've had stories circulating now about how he is suspecting everyone around him of being the leaker that initially told the FBI where these documents were held at Mar-a-Lago. Yo, he looks like he's side-eyeing everyone. It's a good day to not be Donald Trump. When the players go with an infiltration approach to bring down the BBEG. Yeah. No different than when he was in the White House and people were leaking info. The big difference here is that the info being leaked could, well, it is far more likely to result in him going to prison or being executed. Which, yeah. Yes, Donald Trump was chanting "lock her up" over Hillary's emails. Like allegedly unsecured emails. But I can't imagine something being as insecure as documents related to nuclear state secrets being held in a pool storage room accessible by almost anyone with basic lockpicking skills. He fucked himself trying to fuck Hillary. Yeah, now they're against no-knock warrants. You know, it doesn't matter if black people get shot while sleeping in their homes, but it does matter if Donald Trump is vaguely inconvenienced by the crimes he's committed. All right, we were gonna do the Legal Eagle video. Let's take a look at that. Yep, Yari Nidaze, it wasn't locked for a while. They had to add a padlock, and I need to tell you, if a padlock is the only thing between a foreign agent and the ability to get nuclear secrets from the United States, they can get through that. They can get through that pretty easily.
No.
The FBI, and I give them a lot of credit because they're fighting forces that they're not supposed to be fighting.
But what do we know about the search warrant that was carried out against former President Trump?
Now, keep in mind, this was released before the search warrant became public.
We can't make many assumptions about the FBI raid until we see the actual warrant or until, we see an indictment. But here's what we do know. The Justice Department is conducting at least 2 investigations that we know of into Trump. The DOJ is looking at his attempt to overturn the result of the 2020 presidential election and is also investigating the alleged mishandling of classified records. The National Archive is charged with collecting and sorting presidential material. The National Archives has publicly stated that it had to recover at least 15 boxes of White House records that Trump took to his Mar-a-Lago resort. The records include some classified material. And we know that Trump has a history of destroying and withholding records. He was repeatedly warned about destroying documents, but according to CNN, Politico, and the Washington Post, he tore them up and threw them in the trash.
Yeah, it's me and Adelaide Marie. Donald Trump has taken a lot of money from the Saudis. Like a lot. For hosting multiple LIV golf events at his courses, but also Jared was given $2 billion with no oversight from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So like, they have been giving him literally billions of dollars. Additionally, this is they gave Steve Mnuchin $1 billion for his hedge fund. Oh shit, what if Legal Eagle is lockpicking lawyer? Oh shit, chat. Would that make Kushner a foreign agent? No. It would not. Yes, Jared received $1 billion from Mohammed bin Salman as well.
Or on the floor. White House officials reassembled some of those records with tape. The National Archives confirmed that the Trump administration sent the archive.
But Legal Eagle's not wearing a ring on one of his fingers, which would indicate he's not married. And as we know from the extensive lockpicking lawyer lore, we know that there is a Mrs. Lockpicking lawyer.
Some documents that had been taped back together, as well as records that were still in shreds. I'll be doing a separate video on the Presidential Records Act and the implications of the Espionage Act, but multiple sources told CNN that in April and May, the FBI interviewed Trump's Mar-a-Lago aides. And in June of 2022, investigators visited Mar-a-Lago to discuss Trump's removal of potentially classified material that had been taken to the Florida property. One of those investigators, Jay Bratt, is the chief of the Counterintelligence and Export Control Section at the Justice Department. Trump reportedly greeted the investigators but did not answer questions. The investigators asked to see where the documents were being stored. Trump's lawyers showed them a room in the basement where boxes of records were being stored. Some reports said that the documents were marked with top secret. On June 8th, the investigators sent a letter to Trump's lawyers telling them to secure the room where the secret documents were stored. Trump aides complied with the request and added a padlock to the door. Now, I probably don't need to tell you just how insane it is that there could be top secret classified documents being stored in some basement in Mar-a-Lago, or just how insane it is that the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago potentially over these documents. But I do have to say that they even broke into my safe is probably going to go down as a quote for the ages. But the search began early Monday morning and apparently focused on the area of the club where Trump's offices and personal quarters are located. The investigators met with two of Trump's attorneys and Trump
Wait. I haven't actually seen pictures from inside Mar-a-Lago. Wait.
Mar-a-Lago potentially over these documents. But I do have to say that they even broke into my safe is probably going to go down as a quote for the ages. But the search began early Monday morning and apparently focused on the area of the club where Trump's offices and personal quarters.
Holy shit. Yeah, this man's in touch with the common man, chat. Yeah, he really knows what working people need. I am shocked he doesn't have a goddamn throne behind that desk. Man of the people right here. Salt of the earth conservative.
Located. The investigators met with two of Trump's attorneys and Trump reportedly greeted the investigators but did not answer questions. Investigators removed more than a...
Well, Darkstar Mike, he has reportedly said that Epstein and himself share a love for young women. So... maybe.
dozen boxes of items. Eric Trump told Fox News that he was told, quote, the purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to, corroborate whether or not Donald Trump had any documents in his possession. Trump's lawyer, Christina Todd, said the FBI seized documents and Trump cooperated with the FBI. Quote, President Trump and his legal team have been cooperative with the FBI and DOJ officials every step of the way. The FBI did conduct an unannounced raid and seized paper. Although Bob said that the raid was unannounced, CNN reported the FBI and Secret Service communicated about the raid before it happened to ensure that it went smoothly. Donald Trump was in New York on the day of the raid, and the Biden administration was reportedly not aware of the raid, according to CNN. Now, we can assume this raid did not happen at the behest of a rogue FBI agent or a local judge acting without buy-in or notification of high-level DOJ officials. Obviously, serving a warrant on a former president is an incredibly serious thing, and it's a...
And we know that Merrick Garland, who heads the DOJ, personally signed off on this.
Decision that can't be taken lightly. The FBI and DOJ must follow constitutional and statutory requirements for obtaining a warrant, which we'll talk about in a moment. But in addition, the DOJ has guidelines for investigations of political targets. In 2020, former Attorney General William Barr issued a controversial memorandum stating that anyone in the Justice Department who was investigating a political candidate must run it by the Attorney General for approval. And current Attorney...
Breaking news, everybody.
What they've been doing to President Trump is political persecution. Merrick Garland has abused his position of power as the Attorney General to politically persecute Joe Biden's enemies. And the whole purpose of this is to prevent President Trump from ever being able to hold office. So I'm on my way in the Capitol right now, and I'm introducing articles of impeachment on Merrick Garland because we cannot tolerate this. in America where our great institutions are welded and abused in such a way to defeat people's political enemies. That's not what this is for, and it should never exist.
Okay, good luck with that, because it needs to pass the House, and that's not going to happen. So good. Congratulations, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for just being insane for no reason.
General Merrick Garland renewed that memo on May 25, 2022. Garland's memo is titled Election Year Sensitivities. The memo reminded DOJ employees of the department's long-standing policy for avoiding steps that could be perceived as partisan and designed to influence an election result. Quote, "This is particularly important in an election year. Now that the 2022 election season is upon us, and as in prior election cycles, I am using this memorandum to remind you of the department's existing policies with respect to political activities." Now, Barr's original memo says investigations, including preliminary ones, into presidential or vice presidential candidates, their campaigns, or staff cannot be opened without the written approval of the Attorney General. It also states that an investigation into a congressional candidate or campaign cannot be opened without first notifying the Assistant Attorney General and the respective U.S. Attorney.
Wait. Sorry, I'm going through this chat. I'm going through this resolution that she introduced. Wait. No, this is from... Wait, have they just been trying to impeach Merrick Garland for years? And I just didn't see that? Oh shit, no, this is a different resolution to impeach Merrick Garland. Holy shit! Oh god, this is from October of last year. This was over him not, like, prosecuting school boards or whatever. Oh my god. I can't believe this. Oh god. Alright. Sorry, chat. I can't. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the new one, chat. Sorry. Whew. Marjorie Taylor Greene also filed impeachment against Joe Biden last year. Oh my god. I think about half of her job is just formulating impeachment allegations.
The district involved. And if an investigation is initiated in line with these guidelines, then the investigating agency has to provide regular updates to the Deputy Attorney General. Now, Trump has indicated that he will be a candidate for president in 2022. So the TLDR version here is the FBI would not have applied for a search warrant without Garland's consent, and presumably they also would have gotten approval from the Trump-appointed FBI Director, Christopher Wray. But what is the requirement for a federal search warrant? Well, a search warrant authorizes law enforcement to search a location for any of the following: evidence of a crime, contraband, fruits of crime, or other items illegally possessed, property designed for use, intended for use, or used in committing a crime, or a person to be arrested, or a person who was unlawfully restrained. Now, usually those first three are lumped together. Imagine a simple burglary where jewelry was stolen. You'd want to look at the burglar's house for the stolen jewelry, cash or drugs that might have been traded for the stolen jewelry, or burglary tools. And so law enforcement has to identify two different things. One, the person or property to be searched, and two, the items to be seized. Now, more to the point, law enforcement has to establish probable cause to believe that the items to be seized exist and will be located in the person or property to be identified. And probable cause is hard to define. It's imprecise, fluid, and very dependent on context. The US Supreme Court says that finding whether probable cause exists is, quote, a practical common sense decision, whether given all the circumstances, there is a fair probability that contraband or evidence of a crime will be found in a particular place. And what does fair probability actually mean? Well, it doesn't have a specific number attached to it, unlike the standard of preponderance of the evidence, which is just a hair over 50% or more. That said, several studies over the decades that involved surveys of judges generally agree that probable cause is somewhere in the high 40s, but beneath 50%. And it might be worth noting that some jurisdictions like Oregon have collapsed the probable cause standard and the preponderance standard so that probable cause means anything over 50% likelihood. But that is not the federal or constitutional standard. The constitutional standard is only a fair probability. Now you might ask, how specific does a federal search warrant have to be? Well, generally speaking, not that specific. We can look to the search warrant that was used against Paul Manafort. It includes something very specific, quote, a Bijon black titanium Royal Way watch. But it also includes general categories of items like any and all financial records for Paul Manafort Jr. Now we'll get into what that means in practice later, but let's talk about the practice for getting a federal search warrant. Now, the applicant for a search warrant is generally a federal law enforcement officer of some kind, an FBI agent, a Treasury agent, etc. And as of 2016, federal agencies employed about 132,000 full-time law enforcement officers. And every federal search warrant is reviewed by an assistant U.S. attorney of some kind. Now, that's not required by law, but it's a policy decision by the Department of Justice. Now, the application itself is a one-page template, and federal law enforcement generally attaches 3 documents to that application. The first is the affidavit by the investigating officer. Attachment A includes the property to be searched, and attachment B lists the items to be seized. Now, the affidavit is a sworn...
Just real quick. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said Friday that holding on to documents relating to nuclear weapons just doesn't seem like that's something Trump would be doing. Well then, case closed on that one, folks. Everyone go home. He just doesn't seem like he's not the kind of guy who would do that, chat. He's just not that kind of guy.
By the law enforcement officer that sets forth the officer's knowledge of the investigation. It can include hearsay and even information from anonymous or confidential sources, though the officer needs to establish the reliability of that information. The purpose of that affidavit is to establish probable cause to the reviewing magistrate. But the affidavit is all there is. The magistrate does not get to consider any additional information, just what's contained within the 4 corners of that document. Now that said, the magistrate judge has to issue the warrant if there is probable cause. It's not optional. The judge does not have discretion to say, well, there is probably probable cause, but I don't think you need it for your investigation. It's looking pretty good on its own. Once the magistrate judge has found probable cause, the warrant must issue. And what this means in practice is that the magistrate judge signs the application, the one-page template, and issues it to another officer authorized to execute it. The warrant must be executed within 14 days and during the daytime unless there is good cause to execute it at some other time. And this should go without saying, but I'm gonna say it again anyway. Just because a judge signs off on it doesn't mean a crime has been committed. And just because you have received a federal search warrant doesn't mean that you are a criminal or have done really anything wrong. See contra all of the legal bad takes on Twitter. And as a reminder, just because a search warrant was executed on a particular person's property, that doesn't mean that particular person is the target of an investigation. Now, it is very common for that to be the case, but search warrants are frequently served on Google and Meta for information and data that they keep on their servers that are relevant to an investigation. They're not the target of that investigation. Now, and it's rare, but occasionally search warrants are executed on members of the media who have information or lawyers who represent the targets of an investigation. Nor does it mean there absolutely will be a prosecution. Just because there is probable cause doesn't mean that the government can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt in a jury trial. That's a completely separate consideration in light of all of the evidence, including whatever evidence comes out as a result of the...
Yeah, we just covered that, Mint. You love to see it.
The search warrant. The beyond a reasonable doubt standard is much, much higher than the probable cause or even the preponderance of the evidence standard. Though it's always good to remind people that just because you aren't convicted beyond a reasonable doubt doesn't mean you didn't commit a crime also. So it goes both ways. Now, there are some differences between state and federal courts when it comes to search warrants. For one, the states don't have a single uniform procedure like the federal courts do. Now, they all basically get you to the same place, but they certainly won't look as uniform as they do in the federal system. And state judges have a reputation for rubber stamping.
I did know that. You can call me Jess.
Search warrants. The federal system has the Department of Justice that acts as a gatekeeper for search warrants, even though that's not required.
But my Obama.
By federal law. So state judges are more likely to get warrants that contain...
Yeah, got like Absutoth. I'm getting the same feelings around this that I got on January 6th. Since yesterday, when a lot of this leaked out, I'm getting that same feeling. This is big shit. Hello. I don't know how to say your name. Itagenit? Hello.
Contain plenty
Obama.
of grammatical and formatting issues and might not have quite as much evidence as far as probable cause goes. But in any event, the end result is that officers will show up to a...
We are pretty caught up so far. So here's what we know, folks. Actually, I'll give you a rundown after we finish this video. And then we'll kind of summarize what we have so far.
Location, knocking on the door, notifying the people inside of the search warrant, and then searching the scene. That means getting everyone out of the place so that they can't tamper with evidence or present a threat. The officers then search the place in accordance with what's allowed in the warrant. They can search for the items authorized by the warrant and open any containers that could reasonably contain the items, including safes, lockboxes, and the like. And using the Paul Manafort search warrant as an example, we saw that there was a pretty big category, any and all financial records for Paul Manafort Jr. So let's say that you're one of the FBI agents on the scene. You would basically look for documents and papers. And let's say that you find a manila folder that contains 100 or so pages. You might skim through it, and as you do, you see a couple of financial records that pertain to Paul Manafort. You would then likely seize the entire manila folder. There are two reasons for this. One, people typically keep financial records with other financial records or related records, and those...
I don't know about this. I don't know about the Interpol warrant. I know Iran requested Interpol to arrest Donald Trump in 2021, but I don't know if that applies to this specific circumstance.
Related records might be needed to make sense of the specific financial records that they're kept with. And second, you don't have time at the scene to fully understand how all the documents link together. In other words, you don't understand the import of those documents at the scene. So you'd probably take the entire manila folder and notate on an inventory form something like manila folder containing financial documents located in the lower right-hand desk drawer in the office. Now, agents keep an inventory of what items they seize and where they found those items. They are required by law to do this. When they're done executing the search warrant, they will leave a copy of the search warrant as well as a copy of the inventory of things seized. Now, it's important to note, they do not leave a copy of the affidavit. All they will leave is the one-page application along with the two attachments listing the property to be searched and the items to be seized. After that, the investigating officers would then return the search warrant to the magistrate, and it would specify the date and time the warrant was executed and include the inventory of items seized. So what's next? Well, Trump has a copy of the search warrant, but not the supporting affidavit. He could release it if he chose to. There's no legal reason why he couldn't release it. And it's interesting that he has chosen not to. And additionally, there are reports of a mole or informant inside of Mar-A-Lago, which might explain the exigency of the FBI search of Mar-A-Lago. Additionally, the Florida Times-Union Judicial Watch...
If Trump tried to leave the country, would Secret Service let him at this point? I honestly have no idea. I have no idea how Secret Service works in a case like this.
And the New York Times have filed a motion to unseal the records. The supporting affidavit is sealed to protect the investigation, and generally the DOJ doesn't comment on ongoing investigations because it could jeopardize the investigation and tip off other targets, or the target who is the initial target.
12 seconds later.
Except, of course, when the DOJ chooses that it's going to make a statement about an ongoing investigation, like when you're trying to get a friggin' YouTube video out and the Attorney General for the United States chooses to give a press conference. Duh! Attorney General Merrick Garland confirmed in a press conference that indeed he did have personal supervision over the search warrant that was executed over the former president's estate at Mar-A-Lago. And in fact, because former President Trump did confirm the search warrant was executed and publicly stated information about it, the DOJ is going to move to unseal the records related to the search warrant itself. One gets the sense that the DOJ was trying to keep this quiet. And in fact, this comes on the heels of a report from the New York Times that
Herzberg! Thank you for subscribing with Prime. Thank you for giving me your Bezos bucks.
President Trump to return some or all of the documents in question, and that may have not been complied with, which might have forced the DOJ's hand to execute a search warrant to get these documents. And now we're facing the incredibly interesting situation where it's the DOJ that is moving to disclose this information, and it may be former President Trump who doesn't want it disclosed. He, of course, always had the ability to disclose the receipt and the other pages of the warrant, other than the probable cause affidavit, and now he may be in a situation where he wants to keep that secret. But at least that's likely to be the last bombshell that we have to deal with in this particular case for a while.
12 seconds later.
Are you friggin' kidding me? So the Washington Post is now reporting that the documents at issue here concern nuclear weapons, which explains a whole lot about why this search warrant was executed, why the exigent circumstances, and why everyone is freaking out. It also throws a huge curveball in the people that were saying that the president could just declassify documents on the way out of the White House. When it comes to nuclear weapons related documents, often that has to go through a separate regulatory agency. Often the president is in charge of declassification, but when it comes to these kinds of documents, that is not necessarily the case. It also raises all kinds of questions as to why former President Trump took these documents out of the White House and why he might have refused to turn them back over when multiple requests were made, which is what has been alleged. So we'll cover all of the potential criminal implications of this in a separate video, but this whole situation is raising all kinds of questions. But one thing is for sure, keeping a bunch of classified documents in a basement would be a pretty stupid move. But they could quickly get their brains back to functioning correctly with a logic or math course from today's sponsor, Brilliant.
Boo. Okay. Sorry, I got startled by my own preview on the screen. Hope I look cute enough today. Hello, chat. Okay. So, for those of you who need to catch up, all right? Essentially, what we have going on right now is the people around Trump tipped off the FBI that Donald Trump had documents supposedly related to our nuclear arsenal or nuclear technology or other countries' nuclear arsenals and technology. On top of that, there have been leaks related to the press that not only does this relate to nuclear situations, it also relates to possible outing of CIA officials, like some kind of list of active CIA operatives or operations around the world. Let's read the search warrant. We already did. On top of that, we have a lot of documents in play that we know for sure are confirmed to be either top secret, classified, or top secret / special compartmentalized info. Oh god, the SCI is tripping me up, guys. SCI TS. Okay, sensitive compartmented information. There we go. My bad. So we have classified, we have top secret, and then we have top secret / sensitive compartmented information. Okay? Classified is, pretty important information that is not available to the general public. Then we have top secret, which is available to even fewer people. And then we have top secret sensitive compartmented information, which is viewable only in certain locations, i.e. rooms that essentially are supposed to be spy-proof. Like, you can't take those documents or things out of those rooms. All right? You're not supposed to be able to do that. But then there are other levels beyond that level that are available to even fewer people. And one of those is specially accessible programs. Special access program. Okay. Yes. Sorry, Jaina. I've been going for 3 hours now. My brain's a little bit scrambled. But essentially, special access programs are an even higher level of classification. Okay? You are only able to access that under certain conditions. Okay? I really need to emphasize this. Like, if you are found with documents that are top secret SCI files, you get blacksided. Okay, you get shipped off to Guantanamo in the best case scenario for you. Okay. If you have SAP documents, if you have special access program documents, I don't even know, like, you go to double secret super Guantanamo, okay? You get disappeared off of the face of the planet. All right? The only reason Donald Trump has not gone down either of those routes is because he's the former president of the United States. All right? Yeah, you get shipped to moon-based Guantanamo. The one on the dark side of the moon. You don't get to see the light ever again, okay? So we know that there is special access program material that Donald Trump has had in his possession. Okay? And we know that because in the search warrant, which we have looked at, there's a really conspicuous thing, and it's the number one thing listed on the search warrant, and it just says documents were recovered. Okay? One of the things to know about SAP material is that it cannot be publicly acknowledged as SAP material. Which is why you would put something incredibly vague, like documents were recovered, on a warrant, say. Okay? On top of that, we have miscellaneous confidential documents, miscellaneous top secret documents, miscellaneous top secret PSI documents, okay? It is, and this is on top of boxes upon boxes of material, okay? It is, again, chat, we also know that they took security footage from Mar-A-Lago. We know that they have probably been aware of foreign agents operating in Mar-A-Lago for years now. And if it can be proven that Donald Trump took nuclear secrets or took compromising information on CIA assets from around the world and was keeping them at Mar-a-Lago, if they bring charges against him for that, he's fucked. Because they would not bring charges against him unless they have the most airtight of airtight cases. They essentially, like, the fact that they even conducted this search in the first place indicates how fucked he is. They get, like, chat, it's not like the FBI, he took the fucking knock list. Discordant Vol, it's probably not called that, but one of the sources that relayed information to Newsweek indicated that he had sensitive human resource material related to the CIA. Okay? Which I think is about as close as you can get to a real-life knock list as possible. Okay? The knock list is kind of the MacGuffin from Mission Impossible. Basically a list of all active and ongoing CIA operations and agents. Granted, it might not be all of them, but, like, even a list of a handful would be, like, horribly terrible for it to get into the wrong hands. How do you think his supporters are look, his supporters are going to react to anything other than unabashed bootlicking, okay? His supporters are like going to jizz themselves in fury for anything less than putting him up as God Emperor for life, okay? They're going to be mad. We already saw that just the act of raiding his Mar-a-Lago estate caused one of his supporters to try and attack an FBI field office, all right? The CIA doesn't really compile full lists like that for obvious reasons, yeah. But what we do know is that the stuff he had, at least what according to this leaker, would have been able to identify those people, at least some members of the CIA. operating abroad. I love how Christina Bobb was on OAN complaining that they didn't take anything even reportedly important, but then she actually was the one that signed off on the receipts. Yeah. Well, so on top of that, we also know, we know a few things, okay? We know a few pieces of background info, okay? We know that Donald Trump has a lot of ties and a lot of old financial ties to Russia, okay? That's one thing we know, and that we can use to speculate, okay? But let's try not to get too wild with our speculation, okay? Like, he's probably not trying to sell nuclear codes or nuclear info to Luxembourg, okay? But we know he has ties to Russia. We also know he has major ties to the Saudis. We also know that, I mean, guys, for my money, it's either the Russians or the Saudis. Okay? For my money, it's one of those two. If I had to bet, though, I'm betting on the Saudis. Okay? Because of what we know over the last several months, all right? What we know is that the Saudis have, for very inexplicable reasons that make no financial sense whatsoever, funneled over $3 billion into private equity firms run by Steve Mnuchin and Jared Kushner. And we know that he was paid handsomely for events for LIV at his golf courses as well. Okay? We also know that in 2019, the Trump administration had whistleblowers go to Congress, essentially saying that the Trump administration was trying to subvert Atomic Energy Act protocols, which are designed to allow the sharing of nuclear technology for, say, like nuclear power plants, while preventing that technology from being weaponized into nuclear weapons. Okay? And we know from that report that the Trump administration was interested in subverting the protocols that would prevent weaponization of nuclear technology by the Saudis. We also know that MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, has publicly expressed multiple times that Jared Kushner is in his pocket. We also know that MBS has talked about wanting nuclear weapons. We also know that there are Saudi agents active at Mar-a-Lago. It is not out of the question that part of what is being investigated here is whether or not Donald Trump transmitted this information to Saudi officials. Okay? We know that. Yeah. I don't know this for sure, chat, but I'm guessing that because guys, we know that Donald Trump has shared classified information while he was president with just random party goers at Mar-a-Lago, okay? If you are a foreign government, the cost to get an agent into Mar-a-Lago is just $200,000. There's not a background check. You just have to pay the membership fee and you get in. $200,000, you get an agent into the orbit of the president. He tweeted classified info all the time. And if you are someone associated with the Saudi government, it's pretty easy for you to make contact with either the current or former president of the United States. Now, normally that wouldn't necessarily be super legal for a Saudi agent to approach a former president of the United States, okay? But if there are nuclear secrets on the premises of Mar-a-Lago, okay, then Donald Trump could physically show them to an agent. Donald Trump could do that just as a fun party trick. But my guess is One doesn't just whoopsie daisy into having nuclear secrets, okay? That takes deliberate work, okay? So my guess is he knows exactly what he has, and he knows that it is worth a lot of money. Say, maybe $3 billion worth of money. That is my current working theory. I could be very wrong. It might have to do with Russians. It might just be that he's the dumbest man to ever live, and he just bumblefucked himself into committing possibly the most serious violation of the Espionage Act since Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. But my money is on he was trying to, or successfully did, sell this information. And if that is the case, he is fucked. Yeah, like, guys, again, this is if all of these leaks are true, okay? Which we don't know yet. We don't know this yet. So far, they've all been true. But if he does have classified CIA intel, if he does have nuclear intel, those are both things that the president is not allowed to declassify. Like, legally, the president is prevented from declassifying those things. So, there's no way he can just make the argument, or his supporters can make the argument that, well, he declassified it, so it's fine. He can't do that. Honestly, Wolfglen, the last time we had a breach like this, or even suspected, because I know there's some controversy around the Rosenbergs, right? But the last time we had someone convicted on these charges, they were executed. Now, granted, that's probably not going to happen to a former president of the United States, but it would not surprise me if he gets convicted on this that he would spend the rest of his life in prison. He could have grabbed the alien files and instead we got this. I know, right? No. Fat guy named Tiny, there is no way he would be pardoned. There's no way it would be pardoned or commuted. So he's like actually fucked. LB, the rule of thumb I'm calling for in this case is if you see charges brought up against Donald Trump related to any of this, he is well and truly fucked. Like, who hasn't committed an oopsie goofer for the first stone? If Trump was found guilty and put to death, MAGA Nation would rise up. Well, they would never put him to death just because he was a former president. But he would be found guilty and put in prison for life. I think that is on the table for this kind of crime. Also, MAGA Nation is welcome to rise up. That'll help us discern who the conservative terrorists are. It'd be super useful for the well-being of our society. They'll just buy him some new cement shoes. Yeah. He'll go for a long walk off a short pier. Hey. Do you think if DeSantis got the presidency, he would excuse Trump of any charges or shorten his sentence? Yeah, I mean, if DeSantis became president, absolutely, yes. It'd be the biggest slam dunk for him. I think he'd probably wait to the end of his presidency, and during like the 2028 election, like issue a pardon to instantly bump his popularity up. They'd crowdfund for his $2 trillion bail. True. Oh god, the fish mob does execution with styrofoam shoes. So that kind of brings you up to where we are right now. We had a look at the warrant. The warrant is pretty interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene is currently calling for Merrick Garland to be impeached, which isn't going to happen. But yeah, I find the most interesting thing to be this part of the unlabeled documents on the warrant, which does indicate, I believe, the existence of SAP level documents, which, again, to reiterate, Guantanamo moon base levels of punishment for taking something like that. Marjorie Taylor Greene already has defund the FBI merch. It's been like, what, 3 days? So, Mint, that brings us up to speed. Trump is the best at stealing nuclear secrets. He's gotten the farthest that anyone's ever gotten before. Gotta hand it to him, okay? Normally it would take like an Ocean's 11 with like $10 billion in funding. Nah, more than that, like $100 billion in funding to try and like steal nuclear secrets. My man just walked in, walked out. Best at stealing state secrets, baby. Yeah, I mean, president, super spy, one guy. He's just not a super spy for the United States. Amazing timing. Amazing timing. Oh yeah, also Fox News is saying some crazy shit, or was saying crazy shit. I don't know if they're still platforming this shit, but something to keep an eye on as we get closer to elections.
How we behave now? Are we going to now see the raid of Biden's home if he loses the election? No party behaves like this unless they intend not to give up power.
Brooke,
that is the sign
years,
that they are the signal they are sending right now.
We've covered a lot.
How we behave now? Are we?
Just casually suggesting that because of an FBI raid, Joe Biden won't acknowledge a loss. Maybe Joe Biden will start saying that the election was rigged against him. Might start spreading that around to all of his lefty supporters.
World, could you think that we're safer now than we were under President Trump when he was willing to put missiles into Syrian air bases with Russians on the base? What's going on here, sir?
He didn't understand, because he didn't understand fundamentally much of anything about international affairs. His decisions were not based on a coherent philosophy or a coherent policy.
But we were safer.
They were erratic.
Safer. He kept world leaders.
Yeah, he didn't have a coherent policy, but we were safer. We were safer. If I just keep saying we were safer, that makes it true. We were safer.
Donald Trump,
he kept world leaders.
He signed a deal with the Taliban.
Sir. He kept them on their back feet. They didn't know where he was coming from, and that made us safer. I mean, can you? He had President Xi.
By the way, John Bolton is not a lefty. Okay, John Bolton is one of the most warmongering pieces of shit on the planet. Okay, he has personally bragged about doing coups around the world with U.S. power. Okay.
The Taliban to withdraw from Afghanistan. Did that make us safer, Eric?
When he bombed, no, you know what made us less safe?
From Afghanistan make us safer, right?
You know what made us less safe is when Biden pulled us out of Afghanistan. 13 Americans died, and now
that was Trump's deal.
And now the Taliban tells us.
Yo, John Bolton is loving this, dude. And he's correct. He's correct in this instance. The worst person you know just made a good point.
Don't kill Al Qaeda.
That's right.
Are you out of your mind, sir?
Same thing they would have done under Donald Trump. No.
Oh,
who cut the deal, Eric? Who cut the deal?
Who delivered the deal?
Donald Trump cut the deal, didn't he?
No, Trump wanted to.
What would Trump have done?
He
what would Trump have done had he been reelected?
Remember? Sir, let's be honest.
No, it just would have been better. Trust me. I have a feeling about this.
He did not. He absolutely did not. He did. Eric, you don't know what you're talking about. He wanted everybody out. He cut a deal to do exactly that.
Disagrees with you. We don't know what we're talking.
Wait, did he just call him Joe or fuck it, Bolton a commie bastard?
Deal to do exactly that.
Disagrees with you. We don't know what we're talking about. Trump said leave 2,500 there until we have a.
Wait.
What would Trump have done had he been reelected?
Remember, sir, let's be honest.
No, he did not. He absolutely did not. He did. Eric, you don't know what you're talking about. He wanted everybody out. He cut a deal to do exactly that.
You're a common lying bastard?
Everybody out. He cut a deal to do exactly that.
Oh, you're a common... You come on here and lie, ambassador?
That disagrees with you. We don't know what we're talking about. Trump said leave 2,500 there until we have a smooth transition of power.
Look, he said that after he cut the deal. The deal cut us down to zero. That's what Trump wanted. He wanted everybody out. The record on that is completely clear.
Over time, Biden pulled them out. Well, with Americans still there.
No, read the deal, Eric. Have you ever read the deal?
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I know you got to go before you're embarrassed even further.
Oh my God! Stop, Bolton! Stop! He's already dead.
I'm embarrassed.
Oh my God! Look at his fucking face. Oh, primo content right here. Like, fuck John Bolton, but also this was this was amazing. Oh yeah, here's another thing. QAnon folks are already trying to say that this is a QAnon conspiracy, folks. Specifically because of a really unfortunate coincidence, which is that classified documents relating to nuclear weapons require a person with what is known as Q clearance. Q clearance, or Q access authorization, is the U.S. Department of Energy security clearance required to access top secret restricted data, formerly restricted data, and national security information, as well as secret restricted data. So, isn't that the whole premise of QAnon? Well, a lot of people did not put together this thing, those points, right? Some people suspected that, but now we know the truth, don't we, chat? That's literally what Q named himself after? Yeah. But now they think that Donald Trump is Q, because he had the Q clearance to get the documents. And now did somebody say nuclear documents? What program are you required to be in if you have access to nuclear program documents? What security clearance is required as a prereq for such a person? The FBI was hunting for docs only a person with Q clearance would have. Or were they hunting for evidence of the persons in question? Dun dun dun! Yeah, QAnon, look, it doesn't have to make sense. QAnon does not have to make sense. QAnon does not have to even present new information, okay? They could look at the same 5 pages of documents and make infinite conspiracy theory, because that's how their brains work, okay? They're fundamentally broken individuals who need conspiracy to hold their lives together, all right? Virgil Texas is Q. Virgil Texas probably needs to be in jail.
Were seized from Mar-A-Lago on Monday, including 4 sets of top secret documents, 3 sets of secret documents, 3 sets of confidential documents, and various documents were marked as top secret.
Thanks, non-binary superpowers. I really appreciate that.
This would be material so sensitive that the U.S. goes to excruciating efforts to protect it. Only people with top secret clearance can read these documents, and they have to do it in what's known as a SCIF, or Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility. Now, these SCIFs require a special lock and have reinforced walls and electronic methods to prevent spying. I'm going to go right to CNN's Caitlin Poland. So, Caitlin, you have the warrant. What else are we learning from it?
Right. Well, Dana, there is more information in here than we could have expected yesterday. There is 3 pages that really lay out exactly what was seized from the property of the former president, Mar-a-Lago, that beach club that is also his home and is not a secured facility in the way that the federal government sets up secured facilities at this time. And this list, it walks walks through, there are 33 items here that were seized as far as this list goes. Most of them are boxes with labels on them. One is a leather-bound box of documents. Within it, it appears, the way this is written, that there are various classified TS-SCI documents that were taken out of Mar-a-Lago, or at least they were labeled as such. TS-SCI is that very high level of classification in the U.S. government, top secret, sensitive, compartmented information. It really is the sort of information that is extremely protected, and only certain people are able to access it. This is what is under investigation, not necessarily the classified information, but just the idea that things that could hurt the national defense, that could hurt the United States, were being kept in an unsecure location. And when we look also at what was being searched, how the federal authorities would have been doing their job, we can see that they were given pretty broad direction as to where they were to go to look. They were to look in the office of the former president, in areas and other rooms being used by the former president, where there could be documents kept that would be unsecured, things they needed to really get out of that place. And then the other thing that is of interest here is that when this receipt was signed, when it was handed over as the FBI would have been leaving, we see a timestamp of 6:19 p.m. That really does confirm that the FBI worked for most of the day to try and take these things off of the premises and get them back into secure hands.
So interesting. Caitlin, thank you so much for that. I want to bring in our CNN senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez. So, Evan, you said something interesting that I even called you about because...
Well, that's the thing, Meat Bomb. There's no possible way you could treat it like that. There's no possible way you could think that you were, like, entitled to these documents and just take them to your home. There isn't a way in which that would be done. Meaning that is not the manner in which he did this.
As I said, what? This is really critical, and it's about the 3 laws that are cited in this search warrant. You hear the former president or see him in his statements today saying, I didn't take any classified information. But what you're reporting is, reading these laws, is that's not necessarily relevant. Can you explain that?
Well, yeah. So the three laws. I'll read you the three federal codes. One is 793. That's known as the Espionage Act, gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. Code 1519. This is destruction, alteration, falsification of records in federal investigations. This is an obstruction statute. And then there's the 2071, which is concealment and mutilation of federal documents. What's interesting about, especially, if you look at the 793, which is the Espionage Act, the National Defense Information.
He needs to be locked up. He's a traitor. Yeah, if they can prove this in court, yes.
It doesn't really turn on whether, the items are declassified. It doesn't turn on whether you have authority to possess these documents. So the federal government, according to this document, the prosecutors of the Justice Department are investigating possible crimes. This is the proof they gave to a federal judge to say, we believe at Mar-a-Lago there were crimes, evidence of these crimes. What's important about this is that they're using specific laws that could inoculate their investigation from what we expect to be the surefire Donald Trump defense, which is, I declassified everything. By saying so, I automatically declassified things. Of course, we know it's a little more complicated than that, but that's where we know Donald Trump is going to go. We can already see that in some of his defenses. One other thing that stood out to me from this document real quick, Dana, is, the document says that the judge is authorizing the FBI to show up anytime from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. We know that the FBI showed up around 10 a.m. It gives you a sense of the deference they were giving to the former president for the office that he held. They could have gone in there with their FBI jackets. They came in with suits and ties. They came around 10 a.m. They were trying to not make this a spectacle. He is the one that went out, around right after the FBI left the premises and blasted out his statement and has sort of created a spectacle of what had happened here.
Evan, that's very interesting and an important point, because now we do have these timestamps. But back to your original point, if the former president didn't necessarily break the law, just to use layman's terms, because of, or this wasn't precipitated because of his possession of any classified information. What would be the potential area where he did break the law?
Well, what this means is that it doesn't matter that it was classified or not. What they're trying to say, by presenting these statutes as the reason for doing this search, what the prosecutors are doing is saying that this was a violation of the law simply because by putting these documents, which could harm the United States, these are national defense information documents, that you are violating the law. So you could violate the law even if you, as former president, declassified them, which is, I think, is what he's going to argue.
Yeah.
So what this means...
Again, and this isn't being brought up enough, Donald Trump cannot unilaterally declassify documents that are related to specific things. So if this is related to nuclear weapons, or if it is related to CIA human resources, sorry, he doesn't get to unilaterally declassify those things. It is still illegal for him, even with that attempt of a defense.
Is that you can break the law even if Donald Trump has already said, I hereby wave a wand and I've declassified things.
Evan, such important context and reporting. Thanks as always. I want to bring in Tom Dupree, who was the #2 in the DOJ Civil Division under George W. Bush, and also with me, Kim Whaley, who served as an assistant U.S. attorney. So, Tom, you've read the warrant, you heard Evan's reporting and Caitlin's as well. These 3 laws: obstruction, removing of government
Yeah, I'm kind of
records,
implying that, aren't I, Altered
Act.
Rin?
What do you make of it?
Well, the big ticket one here, Dana, is the Espionage Act. I think that explains what's been going on behind the scenes at the Justice Department, that what this warrant we see today confirms is that this is just not a garden variety dispute about archiving. It's not a ticky-tack dispute about where presidential records are stored. Rather, this really goes to the heart of the United States national security. It's an Espionage Act potential charge. And I think what happened at DOJ was they simply said that these documents that the president is refusing to turn back over to the government are not mementos, souvenirs of his time in office. Rather, they are documents that have a direct material relevance to the national security of the United States. That's why we need them back. And that's why it was appropriate to execute a warrant on Mar-a-Lago.
Kim, what are your thoughts?
Well, Dan, of course, I've just been able to read the warrant and look at these statutes, but there are a couple things that jump out to me. One is the Espionage Act is actually really long. There's a part of it that says authorized users cannot share this information. Whether he's authorized or not, I think is unclear. It's unless he somehow waved his magic wand and declassified things under the Presidential Records Act, he did not have any legal right to have this. So I think it's possible another provision of that act would apply. The warrant, it doesn't say which subsection. The other provisions apply if there's intent to share information in order to injure the United States or to advantage foreign nations. I think that's quite interesting, right? The obstruction statute, also very interesting, because it's not just obstruction by having these things. It's you are destroying or concealing documents in order.
We got the warrant? Yeah, ask Fidel, we did. And it's pretty meaty. There's a lot of stuff in there. Yeah, not only can he not declassify statute-oriented documents, he can't even share this info as an authorized user, which, again, they're really crossing their T's and dotting their I's on this one, because if he's on video showing those documents to anyone, if he can be traced back to sharing any of this info, even if he tries I declassified it, that doesn't work. It doesn't work in the first place, but it double doesn't work if they have proof that he shared it with someone.
To obstruct another investigation. So my question.
Exactly, Dragon Princess. Exactly. I've been trying to really hammer this home. This isn't like a whoopsie daisy. This isn't like, oh, this is like literally if it was any other human being on Earth, they would be disappeared to a CIA black site. They would not be getting charged. They would not be getting asked politely to hand back documents. They would be getting interrogated until they, like, broke, okay? Habeas corpus be damned, okay? Yeah. Best case scenario is they wind up in Guantanamo, okay? They went after Manning and Snowden harder than this? Well, yeah. But that's because, again, they're anyone other than the former president of the United States, okay? Because he is the former president of the United States, they need to make sure that if they bring charges against Donald Trump, that it is airtight. Air goddamn tight, okay? And the other part about Manning and Snowden, well, Manning at least, was that she was in the military, so different military legal procedures apply. Look, if this goes to court, ask Fidel, he's going to prison, okay? There's no wiggling out of that, okay?
What are they, was there probable cause to believe? Is the other investigation that these documents in Mar-a-Lago were allegedly, potentially there to obstruct? And then, of course, the last one is more, you just can't you can't destroy or conceal these kinds of documents. So this is, this is potentially decades in prison.
Yep.
Last point I wanted to make.
Like, best case scenario, guys. Again, I know I keep saying this. The last time someone was convicted of something like this, they were executed by the state, okay?
It's unclear whose intent we're talking.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Edward Snowden deserves a fucking medal, but that's just me.
Talking about here, of course, Donald Trump is the resident of Mar-a-Lago, the owner, but it's unclear from the warrant if they're talking about Donald Trump personally, or if it's him and other people, or it's other people that would have been potentially in violation of these federal laws.
God damn, chat. Yeah, I wonder what he destroyed. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding, chat. Just some light treason as a treat. And he had the audacity to slam Hillary over emails, right? At it once again, having the correct opinion. It's true. It's true. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to what a lot of other political commentators have been saying. I'm not sure. Jaina, thank you very much for subscribing. I very much appreciate it. Dragon Princess, thank you. I'm actually sitting right underneath a blower, so I'm gonna go get a jacket in a second because I'm getting a little chilly. But I know the conservatives are maulding. They're either maulding or ignoring it. I looked, when I went to the bathroom last, I looked at Steven Crowder's Twitter. And dude has not tweeted since yesterday, which is interesting for him, to say the least. The major copium is going on. But I want to know, because I don't usually watch like a lot of other lefty political commentators. I know Beau of the Fifth Column had a good take. Beau of the Fifth Column like agrees with me that this is like a really fucking big deal. Are there other lefties who are like, nothing's gonna happen, this is a worthless story to cover? I get the feeling that there are probably some. I've only seen Vosh. He's been taking it very seriously too. I have a feeling Jimmy Dore is talking about Hillary. Absolutely. Well, Jimmy Dore got to keep going on that right-wing grift, you know? I'm glad Vosh has a good take on this. I haven't been able to watch many streams lately. It just seems like no matter what, he gets away with his BS. Well, let me put it this way for you, David. There is a certain level of crime you can get away with, right? When you are a rich white man, okay? If you're a rich white man, you can literally get away with stealing like $200 million white collar crime, not a big deal, okay? Even if cops do show up, they're going to put you in the nice prison, all right? In like the resort prison, right? Donald Trump did a lot of illegal shit while he was in office that he will never be charged for, because it's just barely within the bounds of like, he's rich and powerful, we'll let him get away with it. Stealing nuclear secrets is not something that being rich and powerful prevents you from seeing the consequences of. It's not even the matter of there being too many crimes. It is the matter of, this is one specific crime that no matter who you are, is going to come and bite your ass. If he is brought up on charges for this, he is going to prison. That is it. If he's going to get away with it, there aren't going to be any there's not going to be any charges. If he does get away with this, no charges are going to be brought. But also, this is the kind of matter where the state, out of necessity, has to come down really fucking hard on people who are spreading state secrets, or people who are just illegally possessing state secrets on the level of like nuclear armaments. Okay, that's pretty serious. That's pretty fucking serious. I foresee his arrest energizing DeSantis into the White House. That could very well be 404 gender not found. I just don't think that that is a reason not to arrest Donald Trump. But also, I think that his arrest would empower a re-election of Biden. Like Biden gets to be the guy who took down Donald Trump. You know, as superficial and dumb as that is, that would be the narrative. I don't think that this is going to be a good thing for Republican turnout, though. Oh, here, I might have the clip. Yeah, here we go.
Raids must be met with raids. State attorney generals that are Republican have to authorize raids against Soros groups, BLM, Planned Parenthood, the Alphabet Mafia, groomers, chemical castration of children now. Here's what.
By the way, again, Charlie Kirk is just telling people that state attorneys general should be raiding with cops gay people and trans people without any legal reason to do so, as well as all of BLM, Planned Parenthoods. You want lawsuits? Because this is how you get lawsuits. You want public tax dollars to go to lining the pockets of gay people? This is how you get it.
Why? 100 facilities should...
Did I Photoshop his head? No, his head is just massive. He just has a massive, massive noggin.
To be raided by the next week. Find them. You trying to tell me there's not 100 criminal organizations that are aiding and abetting people across the southern border? La Raza, we know them. They publicized it. I'm not saying you have to arrest them. Just raid them. Find out what you find. Why?
By the way, this is just straight up Nazi shit, guys. This is straight up just calling for brown shirts to assault minority groups.
That will all of a sudden make them and their internal chatters, guys, you were so stupid. You raided Trump, now they're coming after us. Good. Now you know there's a price to this.
True leadership means doing things that some people will say, oh, you can't do that. A leader makes that calculation and says, I think I need to do this now, and history will judge me. God will judge me.
Yes.
And that's what I would say about Mike Pence on January 6th. In other words, I could see.
I love that Charlie Kirk is just calling for the law to be broken publicly.
People say, well, you can't do this. Other people said you can do this. Okay. The point is, that's when you show whether you are a leader, whether you take the temperature of history and do what is needed and let God judge you and let history judge you. We need those kinds of leaders now because we are in a war. We need a wartime consigliere. That's where we are. And if you don't understand that,
you know, this type of rhetoric is just calling for violence, right? Like when these people are like, we are in a war, it's time to do something about it, but they dance around what it's time to actually do. Like Charlie Kirk will straight up say, yes, we need to send armed people to gay people's houses. But these other people are like, yeah, we're in a war. And they just aren't quite willing and emboldened enough to call for like executions of like minority people. Okay, they're not quite emboldened enough, and I'm worried that if Donald Trump takes office again, they will be.
You're done. We can't use you anymore. Both of us are Christians, and we take our orders from Jesus. So we are not talking about doing anything like saying, well, these are difficult times and we need to do what we need to do. We're not only really saying that. We're saying that on top.
We're not only saying that. Holy shit. Again, this is wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You need to do what you need to do, folks. Grab that gun. You need to do what you need to do.
Top of saying that, what is God's will? God gave us this nation. He gave us liberty, and he gave us the obligation to keep the republic.
By the way, just to back up quickly.
Will. God.
Oh, here.
That on top of saying that, what is God's will?
What is God's will? Fun fact for y'all. Can anyone tell me what the cry of Crusaders was? Can anyone tell me what Crusaders shouted as they were attacking the Middle East? Deus Vult. That is correct. Which translates to God wills it, or as God wills. Can anyone tell me what a very popular neo-Nazi phrase is? I'll give you a hint. It's the same one. It's the same one, chat. These people are literally just dancing around, look, on top of saying you gotta do what you gotta do, God wills it. So, hey, it's literally neo-Nazi shit for evangelicals.
God gave us this nation. He gave us liberty, and he gave us the obligation to keep the republic. We have an obligation. So anybody who's a Christian who feels that, well, that's not playing nice, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, we're not talking about civility, or we're talking about fighting for what is right. And the question is only in this detail of how do we do that? But there are many people who say, we don't fight. No, we don't fight. We wait till the election. If you don't understand that there is a time to fight, there is a time to take dramatic action. And it is not only not violation of our Christian faith. On the contrary, it is a manifestation of our faith.
Yes.
It has to be.
Yeah, he's not talking about voting here, folks. He just said he's not. He's not talking about fighting as in go and vote. He's talking about murdering people, chat.
It's a matter of justice. It's that simple. It's a matter of justice, which is God's idea, not our idea. And if we're not going to uphold justice, which is one of the core values of the American constitutional order, then the whole thing falls apart. Our entire system is inspired by the Bible. It is based on God's will and providence breathing into our life. And
it's not, though.
And if we're just going to kind of sit idly by and do nothing, this is what drives me nuts, though, Eric, is that only a pampered, comfortable...
By the way, they are just repackaging what monarchs said about the reign of kings, that God willed kings as the natural and God-given right, the divine right of kings, it was called. Charlie Kirk and Christian nationalists are just repackaging that under a fascist idea of what democracy should be, and in their version of democracy, there ain't no democracy, okay?
Self-righteous, arrogant, weak, theologically questionable Christian generation could believe such a thing. Our grandfathers and our ancestors were Christian, and they knew if they had to fight evil, they did. And so why are you willing then to inherit the gift, but not willing to preserve it?
If you are not angry about this, if you don't want to do something about this, you're part of the problem, folks.
That's right.
Folks, you are part of the problem. You are in bed with evil if you are not outraged at these things happening in the United States of America. If you just want business as usual to continue, you lack courage, and God will judge you and history will judge you for this. And there were many good Germans who did exactly this. They looked the other way when God would have said, please now look at what is happening. Please do a small thing now. They said, I'm going to look the other way.
Yep.
You will regret it for the rest of your life if you don't.
We're going to listen to that bit again, because I'm not entirely convinced that he's not talking about Nazis.
If you just want business as usual to continue, you lack courage, and God will judge you and history will judge you for this. And there were many good Germans who did exactly this. They looked the other way when God would have said, please now look at what is happening. Please do a small thing now. They said, I'm going to look the other way.
Yep.
You will regret it for the rest of your life if you don't do something right now.
That's right.
Goodness. Yeah, honestly, the Christian nationalists who talk about this with Charlie Kirk, folks, they would jump for joy at the way the Nazis treated the people they hate. Okay? The Charlie Kirk and that guy, I don't even remember his name, Metaxas, they would celebrate how the Nazis treated gay people. They would celebrate how the Nazis treated the disabled. They would celebrate how Nazis treated immigrants. They would celebrate this, and we know it because they celebrate the same things that crop up in American society. They celebrate immigrants being put in camps. They celebrate gay people being sent to conversion therapy. They celebrate all of these things. They just want to be in power so they can do more of it. Chat.